Here we are. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Monday night's Carnivore Talk Roundtable discussion. And we certainly look forward to chatting it up with all of you in the chat or on screen. Remember, on Monday nights, we have an open invitation. You can join us on screen, just like Paul and Jeff have already. We have room for 10, so there's plenty of opportunities here to log on with your own device, your own camera, your own microphone, and shoot the breeze with us tonight as we talk about carnivore-related topics. And so we cordially invite you to join us on screen. I'll post the link over in the chat right now. And it is also, if you're on YouTube, it is pinned on the top. If you're on the other networks that we're simulcasting to, it should have just showed up in the chat for you just now. All right. So let's start off by saying hi to Paul and Jeff. We'll start with Paul because he's in the middle on my screen, at least from my point of view here. What's new, Paul? How you been this last week?
Well, been pretty good. Spent $90 on 2 5-pound rib roasts today, and it was $9 a pound. And it's kind of funny because their normal price is $12.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't take advantage of people very much. And I scored some free bones, and got the 4 quarts of them plus water in the crock pot right now. And I had to saw them down myself, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I got out the hacksaw and put a clean blade on it and cut them down and toasted them in the oven for an hour and put them in the crock pot, add the hot water, and they'll go for 24 hours.
All right. Very good. All right. Sounds good. Sounds like good prices. All right. Very nice. I've been pretty good all week with my carnivore diet. I will, however, probably eat off plan this coming Saturday. And the reason for that is it's going to be my wife and I's 25th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So we will obviously go to some place that's suit and tie and charges way too much for a meal. And because of that, I will eat every last dime's worth of what they put in front of me. So, so I have every intention of eating off plan this Saturday. I will try and, I will obviously try and order appropriately as best as I can, compromising on, on my personal rules for myself. And but I'll give you a report next Monday on what I ended up having. So
you find that the longer you're carnivore, the easier it is for you to get right back on the next day with no problems?
It is. So last year, I think I had a steak and scallops, and then I think the side was, I'm trying to remember. One of ours was like a cruciferous green thing, and the other one was probably a sweet potato type dish. And I had a little bit of both, and then we had like a bottle of red wine. And I didn't order any dessert, but when you make the reservation, you say it's your anniversary, they bring you a free one anyway. So they brought out this ice cream with some stuff drizzled over it. I had a couple bites of that. It was on a brownie. I didn't touch the brownie, and that's kind of like my limits. And my wife had to buy the brownie, said it was too rich anyway. So, but then the next day I'm right back on track. So yeah, my first year I couldn't cheat. If I cheated in my first year, I probably would have fell off the wagon, and I would have struggled to get back on. Like we know a lot of people that do that too. They have something simple as fruit, and the next thing you know, the fruit opens the door to a bag of Doritos, and the bag of Doritos opens the door to a large pizza, and it takes them weeks to get back on the diet. That would have happened to me my first year, but now that I'm going on 3 years. It'll be 3 years in May. Yeah, on the rare occasion that I do eat off plan, it's not a problem for me anymore. It doesn't bring back those feelings of addiction or mad cravings like they used to. Which I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad. I feel like I'm the master of my own mouth and my own eating habits now, whereas before I was a slave to food. I'm not a slave anymore, and I'm really happy about that. So
that's been the beauty of this whole way of eating is exactly what you just said. You get to the point where you're no longer a slave to food. Mm-hmm. Food doesn't control you anymore. You know, even when I did Atkins, it would be real easy to slip off, you know, and go do something. It was a constant fight, constant struggle. I got to a point on Atkins where it didn't really bother me that much anymore, but I found myself slipping back real easy without any problems. And I don't do that with carnivore.
Yeah, I did Atkins before Atkins died and his name got sold to a big food company that's producing all these garbagey treats. But when I read his book and I applied it, I did really good. And I think probably the only problem was I really got into the trying to make dishes that resembled processed food dishes, you know. So like I wanted some like so if I could make a pizza that was low carb, tasted like a pizza, I thought that was a win. Or if I could make something that tasted like spaghetti, I thought that was a win. And now I know better, you know. And so like and back then in the 90s, like you could never quite achieve that. It was like, yeah, it's kind of like authentic spaghetti. It's kind of like, you know, cauliflower crust pizza is kind of like a pizza, but damn, I just want a regular pizza now. You know, that was the problem with it. It was a lot of fun, you know, cooking and coming up with all these recipes. But when it had the wrong mentality, the goal was always to try and create a low carb version that tasted just like the bad for you version. And that's what made Atkins difficult. So now I don't even think that way, you know, because I'm not interested in tasting pizza anymore. I'm not interested in tasting spaghetti anymore. I'm not interested in tasting brownies or processed food or grains or anything like that. You know, I just, you know, I don't have a taste for it anymore. And the occasion that I do try something off plan, have a bite of something, you know, so oh, can I just have a bite of this? You know, I'm okay. You know, I'm usually like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm glad I don't eat that stuff anymore. So yeah, that's how it is for me. So how's your week been, Jeff?
It's been good.
We missed you last week.
Busy.
We missed you last week, although we got a glimpse of your belly button.
Yeah, right. Apparently somebody out there. I know what somebody thinks of me out there, and that's fine. Whatever.
Oh, it might have been targeted at me, you know. So, you know, and then, you know, flashing your face on the screen knew that I would probably put it up there, you know, because I saw your face and I was like, oh wow, he's going to join us after all, you know.
Maybe.
And then,
but yeah, I was wiped out, and I just didn't feel like getting online. All I wanted to do was sit down and watch a little rodeo that night and go to bed. I was pretty tired, and I had to take me a bit of a nap today before the show, just so I could get on the show. It's cold weather really wipes me out, and it's hard for me to get out in it. And you know, a lot of the work I'm doing right now has really been hard on my hands and on my back. But it's work that's got to be done. I was on Kiltz's Tribe today, and somebody had posted, one of the guys had posted his view of his walk through the winter woods up in the mountains where he lives. And I commented, it's pretty, but I put the freezing emoji on there, you know, and he commented about Texas, you know, being so hot and all. And I said, yeah, well, I got to admit right now, I'm kind of questioning why I raise animals when I got to get out there in this cold and have to take care of them every day. you know, in this cold weather. And when we do have the snow and the ice and everything, it really makes me rethink what I do, you know, because I have to realize I look like the Michelin snowman out there breaking ice and hauling water and feed. But it's got to be done, and it's worth it in the end.
I don't imagine you have too many days like that, though. Not compared to
No,
here in
we
Ohio.
don't.
Yeah.
We're fortunate. We don't get a lot of snow. We will get at least one snowfall in the wintertime usually. Now, where I'm from, down south in San Antonio, I can remember one time getting snow down there in my whole childhood. One time, and up here in North Texas, we get at least one snow a year, sometimes two. And we've only had one real heavy snow that since I've been up here. And that was around 2008, 2009. We had a real heavy snow. And what we get a lot of is freezing rain and sleet. We will get a lot of that. So we get icy.
All right. All right, let's go say hi to some people in the chat here. We got 22 currently watching. And first up was Paul, who's on screen. You can be on screen too, remember that. We got the link pinned up at the top. He says he comes from the land of the north. And
straight from the Bible, man.
Yeah. And then we got Thomas. He says hello. And Grandma's Crochet Corner is here as well. Good to see you, along with Linda Flanagan. And then Bacon Runner. We got Bacon Runner from the great state of Maine today. And let's see here. How's everyone doing? Cold. So, you know, that's my answer here in Ohio. It is 10 degrees right now. And over the last 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, it snowed relentlessly. And so we probably had out on the car 16 inches of snow, you know, that I had to brush off the truck and fire up the snow blower and clear the driveway, and wind's whipping. It's freezing. And then I'm working up in the Cleveland area, and that's up in the snow belt, so it's even worse up there. But rumor has it we have a warm-up coming, so I'll take it. So we're kind of spoiled. The last several years, it really didn't really get cold or snow until January. So this is a little disheartening. Although in my childhood, it always snowed by like Thanksgiving. It seems to be in my adult life that we've been spoiled by these late arrival for winters coming in January instead. We got Alexis Jones here. Glad you could join us. Geezy the Carnivore, of course, is on screen as well. And then Sandy Blythe. And Alexis Jones says, I made carnivore tacos tonight for dinner with a salsa flavored egg life wrap. Absolutely delicious, and I highly recommend. I do that too. In fact, last night was our taco night. And so I use egg life wraps. I season my beef with McCormick seasoning. Comes in a bottle, and you got to use like 3 tablespoons. And not 100% clean, but it's the cleanest one I can find. And then sour cream and cheese. And then sometimes I use Taco Bell sells their Mexican pizza sauce in a jar, and you just use 1 little spoon of that, and it really adds some flavor to it as well. So if that's okay with your carnivore conscience, it is for mine. So.
Little egg life wrap tip, if y'all are interested, for those that use it, if you'll brush them with butter and toast them up in your skillet, get them brown on both sides, just like you would with a regular flour tortilla. You know, man, it sure makes them things taste good. Makes great tacos and burritos.
I'll have to give that a try.
Yeah,
I usually
toast up a little bit.
I warm mine up for like 15 seconds in the microwave because I don't like the cold. I don't want to put my meat cold. It's already got cold sour cream and cold cheese. I don't want the wrap to be cold, so I warm mine up in the microwave so that it's not completely.
I've done that, for me, it gives them a spongy texture that I don't care for. And I've always, growing up in Texas, we used to eat a ton of tortillas, and we always heated them up on a flat iron or in a skillet, and you just give them a little toast on each side. And I found that these, like I say, you brush them with a little butter, and they'll toast up just fine in the skillet. And of course, I use cast iron skillet. They toast up great, and it takes away that spongy taste or that spongy feel, and gives them a little extra flavor to them. Give it a try. And it's a game changer in my book.
So I've done that before, where sometimes I make a fried beef bologna sandwich, and I'll use egg life wraps with that. So I'll have them slice it thick, like on a 3 millimeter at the store. You can give me nice thick slices, fry that in a pan, and I'll put that together with cheese or whatever I want inside. And I'll also throw it in the pan with the egg life wrap, flip it. That gets the cheese all melted too. So I've had it that way, but that's a good idea to do them by themselves for taco night. I'll have to try that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, brown them up on both sides.
Mandy Beddoes 9112 says Merry Christmas from the UK. Happy wedding. I thought that said Wednesday. That's happy wedding. Bob, congrats. That's the context there, because I have my 25th wedding anniversary coming up. Let me put the comments up on this side there. All right. And yes, congratulations on your 25th. 25 years. It's easy to remember because we got married in December of 2000. So every December, I just think, what year is it? It's 2025. It's my 25th anniversary.
That was smart.
Simple math. So that part is smart. I'll tell you what was not smart is getting married in December, a week before Christmas. Because like every time our wedding anniversary comes around, it's 10 degrees, 2 feet of snow, gloomy, and it'd be nicer if it was warmer weather. So we could actually go out and have some fun, So, I mean, we're going to go to a nice restaurant and certainly have some fun, but, we were always like, what can we do? And we don't feel like we can really travel because everybody's traveling, and then because the following week is a holiday for most people. So we usually, if we're going to do something big, we usually plan it for January, February, away from the holiday and away from the chaos. So
just move, Bob.
Yeah.
Just move.
So bacon runners.
As you get older, you'll think about it more and more.
Yeah, no, moving sounds good. So there's this thing called roots, family and friends are here and my business. So it's kind of moving's a little intimidating. And it's like in the summertime you forget about all this. Once spring hits, you're like, hey, you know what? Ohio's a pretty nice place. You completely forget how awful it gets in the winter.
What's that, June and July?
Yeah, basically the 2 months, 2 good months out of the year. Lexus Jones says, for me, diet soda is too triggering for the cravings. I basically cut everything out except for beef, butter, eggs, and cheese. Very good. And with that, I do want to say that I have been soda free for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Good job.
You guys are usually seeing me here on Monday nights, and I'm guzzling down a glass of Diet Mountain Dew, but I've decided I needed to give it up because of and it's really my blood pressure, my kidneys and my blood pressure was my motivation. My blood pressure is up in the because of my kidneys, my blood pressure is high, and it was up in the, what do you call it when it gets to like almost 180, hypertensive crisis stage.
Yeah.
So like with my medication, it was like 170 over 110 or something. And so I started doing some research, and I figured caffeine can raise your blood pressure. And then I come home and I have my own soda maker, and I make bottles and bottles of this stuff all evening long, and I just keep chugging it. And so the volume of liquid in my body can raise my blood pressure because my kidneys can't keep up with excreting it. And so I'm 2 weeks without soda. I've replaced it with sparkling water, and I checked my blood pressure the other day and it was down to 143/90, which is
Good deal.
much, much better
Oh yeah,
because
that's almost that's good.
I'm happy if it's over, if it's 140/90, I'm happy. So that's 2 weeks with no caffeine. I mean, I still have like tea in the morning, but I mean, I'm not chugging Mountain Dew all day. And then since I drink the water, I drink a lot less, because it's not sweet and it doesn't have that, citrus taste. So I'm not chugging. See, 28 ounce, the pop machine bottle is 28 ounces. So I could drink like 3 of those a night. So I'm probably drinking the equivalent of 1 bottle of water versus 3 bottles of Diet Mountain Dew. And I can already tell that this is going to be good for me. So very good. So I've cut out diet soda, but it was difficult. Not that the diet soda caused me to crave anything, but just made me crave more diet soda. Coach Angela Mullins is here. Glad you could join us. And let's see here. Bride's Biscuit has joined us in the chat. Steadfast 2426. Hi, gentlemen. Just coming from a bizarre chat on Amanda Decker, Dr. Hampton Live. I saw that they were doing a live stream together, and but I was preparing for this, so I didn't get a chance to watch it. I'll have to catch it on the replay. So I like Dr. Hampton, and Amanda Decker oftentimes is on Monday nights with Dr. Barry. So it was interesting to see her on another channel as a guest. So let's see here. Free Thinker. Hi, Bob, Jeff, and Paul. And Tom says it finally snowed there yesterday. That's New Jersey. 8 inches. We got more than you. All right. Let's see here. I would gladly take the 8 inches right now versus what we got. Let's see here. Coach Juliet Edens says, hey, everyone, just finished another live that ran late. Nice to see everyone. It's been a minute, literally. Yeah, glad you could join us. Feel free to jump on screen if you would like. The link is pinned at the top of the chat. And if you are watching on Facebook or Twitter, I guess I shouldn't call it Twitter anymore. That's a habit that's going to be hard to break. X. And here it comes. There's the link. Come join us on screen. Let's see here. $10 degrees here in Vermont, VA. That's Virginia, right? VA, Virginia this morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's about how it was 10. It got up to like 16, and then now it's back down to 10. All right. Grandma's crochet quarter says, I love tacos. So how are you doing your tacos? Are you doing Are you doing keto tacos, carnivore tacos? What's your secret? Let's see here. Oops, forgot to like. Oh yeah, thanks for mentioning that. I always forget to mention, if you could give this video a like, that would be great. That helps the algorithm pop this up in more people's feeds, and if you want to be super cool and share it on social media or something, that would be great. All right. Let's see here. John Together Strong is here. And
I like his avatar.
let's see here. I'm looking at it here.
He's butchering.
Okay, I was gonna say it looks like some meat hanging, and then it looks like a striped chair below it. But that's from my view here. But yeah. All right. Wow, was it hard to do? Quit the do. Yeah, in the sense that I've been entertaining this thought for probably a month and a half or 2 months. And but there was a large part of me that didn't want to give it up. No, in the sense that when I did commit, I haven't gone back. In fact, I have like 3/4 of a 20-ouncer in the fridge if it hasn't gone flat. And then I still have a little bit of mix that I could add into a cup, the syrup, because when I would make my own. And I'm probably just going to toss it out. Now, what I do, though, is I do have some lemon and lime concentrate. So I do put a few drops into the water to give that some flavor. But this stuff is really good. I talked about this last week. Saratoga sparkling water is absolutely divine. And that's what I did was I tried Dr. Berry's suggestion with the San Pellegrino before. I would dilute the pop soda with San Pellegrino, and it would work sorta. And but then it just kind of became like a chore. And I tried drinking San Pellegrino by itself. I couldn't stand it. So the other day when I was kind of got myself into this, okay, I'm going to do this. I had bought 4 different kinds of sparkling water from the local grocery store. So we had Saratoga, Topo Chico, San Pellegrino, and Mason Perrier, I think it is. And actually San Pellegrino was the worst one. And you would think it's okay, water's water, carbonated water's water, but now I'm telling you there's a difference. The Saratoga is absolutely the best. Topo Chico is also very delicious, super close. Those two might even be hard to, if you gave me a blind test, maybe we'll do a video with a blind test someday to really tell. But the San Pellegrino, man, it just pales in comparison. So I can have a Topo Chico clear, no flavor, but Saratoga, man, I'm going to start buying that stuff in bulk online, have it shipped to the house because I absolutely love it. I put a little lemon, a little bit of lime in it if I want. And I have had no desire. I won't say I've had no desire to go back to the Mountain Dew, but I'm just not going to. So now, before I was a Diet Mountain Dew drinker, I was a Diet Coke-aholic. And now if I, if I go to McDonald's and order some beef patties, I tried to get a Diet Coke, which is bad for me because for my kidneys. And it tastes like chemicals now. I couldn't stand it. I drank that stuff for 30 years daily. And now I don't even like it. So now if I usually get an unsweetened iced tea. So was it hard? Yes and no. So, and quite frankly, getting on a diet for me was the same experience. Like when I was 60 pounds heavier and I knew I needed to do something about it, I would think about dieting. I'd talk about starting a diet, and I'd haw around about dieting, and I'd talk about it. This is what I really need to do for like 2 months, and I maybe slowly start swapping low carb stuff out. And it took me a while before I could actually commit. But when the day came that I committed, I was committed. So is it hard to start? Is it hard to diet? It's kind of like hard to get on the train. But once I'm all aboard and it's moving, then I'm fine. That's the way. That's just the way I am. So, which is another reason why I don't want to get off the train, fall off the rails, because it'll be a problem. Good work, Bob. Soda pop is not good for you, including the diet ones. That's what I hear. In fact, there's an article. I haven't published it over on carnivore.com yet the other day, but it talks about how diet soda is horrible and is a precursor to heart disease and Alzheimer's and things like that. So it's pretty interesting. I always thought it was just flavored water. So, Papa Carnivore's at work, but still watching. That's awesome. All right. Let's see.
The thing you have to remember is these food industries, they've got the very best organic chemists.
Mm-hmm.
And they really know their stuff, okay? And you go to almost all bakeries, they don't bake from scratch. Not cakes anyhow. They have a 50-pound bag of mix, the base mix. Then they flavor it, spice it or chocolate it or vanilla it or whatever. because you can't compete with the science behind the food processor. You can't beat them. And when I got out of college, I went to work for FMC, big corporation. And we had a plant where these 1-inch boards would come in. They were 3 foot by 3 foot. It was refined paper pulp, wood. Okay. And you would drop these down into a tank. They get digested and chopped up, and then they go through an oven and get dried and ground. They put that in ice cream. They put it in pudding. Anything that freezes and thaws in shipping, that goes in there. It gives everything a creamy, smooth fixture. It's wood pulp. Okay? And FMC had the best one in the world. And they sold the daylights out of that thing. And I got sent to the site, and we were told increase production by 25%. You know, just went out there and, well, we turned up the conveyor and turned up the oven, and it didn't burn, and we were heroes. But all the big places, Pillsbury, General Mills, they all bought the daylights out of that stuff. The ice cream manufacturers, they bought it all too.
Well, we know that they all have these, food engineers trying to make their stuff exhilaratingly tasty and addictive, and it works. It's because most people are a slave to their processed foods. So,
and it's been going on for over 100 years,
or close to it. That's for sure. Yeah. So that'd put us in 1925. So yeah, that sounds about right. So I keep
in
forgetting.
1914, the Oreo cookie filling was designed to go with milk. And I can't remember who it was at Nabisco that did it, but they stole the cookie from Hydrox.
The cookie jar.
They hired away the guy who invented the little chocolate biscuit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They called them biscuits back then. And anyhow, that's what they did. And then they made their own cream filling, and it was designed to taste good with milk. And it's the same formula. It's virtually the same formula they got today.
Mm-hmm. All right. Carnivore Helix asks, is anyone in Bella Steak and Butter gangs? So I'm sure some of you have been answering that in the chat, but I want to just draw some attention to that question, because I like to draw attention to any questions asked. So if you have any questions, use a QQQ like Carnivore Helix did, or put some question marks at the end, or both. And they usually get highlighted for me here in StreamYard. All right, let's see here. I haven't had a taco since going carnivore, but the thought there is an alternative is nice. Never thought of egg wraps. Yeah, Egg Life Wraps makes the perfect soft taco tortilla. And then, I still, like I said, the McCormick seasoning. It's not perfectly clean, but for me, it's clean enough. It's the cleanest one. And it's like a variety of spices, and and the first one isn't like cornstarch. So that's why I like it. And but the seasoning will have a few carbs in it, but you spread that out across a pound of meat, and it's not that bad. And then you can dress it up any way you want. You can be carnivore with just sour cream and cheese, or you can be keto. You could throw some lettuce and some salsa on it if you want, So, or if you're carnivore and you want to treat yourself to some salsa, you can do that too. So you'll probably be just fine, especially if you've been carnivore for a while. Let's see here. Papa Carnivore says, I bought 2 5-pound New York strip roasts at Publix supermarket and cut them into 10 steaks, put them in the freezer. I've got one ready to go for dinner tonight. Can't wait. Awesome. Very good. And there's, in fact, a lot of people say they save a lot of money by buying the large cut and cutting it down themselves.
Yep.
So I watched a YouTube video. I don't know, it might have been YouTube. Might have been on TikTok, I think it was. Someone bought a big ribeye roast and cut that down into several steaks, and it was, I think, only like $7.99 a pound, $6.99 a pound, or something like that. And if they cut it for you, it's $18.99 a pound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're paying for that labor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do that when I was having to buy beef. I would do that. I'd go to Costco and I'd buy me a choice rib roast or a choice New York roast, and yeah, cut it yourself. And the beauty of cutting it yourself, besides the fact that it's cheaper, okay, is you can cut it to the size that you want, and you can leave all the fat on. If you let them do it, they trim the fat.
Mm-hmm.
2 fingers.
I like to cook it and leave every bit of that fat on. I can slice I can slice a steak to within 0.3 of an ounce of a pound every time.
Yeah, you said that before. That's good.
Yeah. I used to do it for a restaurant all the time.
Yep.
My sister-in-law owns a restaurant, and she didn't have nobody that could butcher meat, and so I'd go and help her out and go butcher meat for her. And I got pretty good at cutting them 1 pound steaks.
Very nice. Retired Rick is here. Steadfast says Topo Chico is his favorite. And Carnivore Helix says, I love the liquid SF IVs and sparkling water. What's the SF IVs? Liquid SF IVs. So I explain that if you could.
Is a needle required?
Yeah. No. Yeah, no. As anything. I'm always interested in. I don't mind flavoring my sparkling water. I'd like to find a use for flavors for my. I can carbonate my own water, which actually I don't like. My tap water carbonated tastes like San Pellegrino. I don't like it, and but I wouldn't mind flavoring it with something that's caffeine free. So I'm not against flavored stuff. I'm still not 100% against some artificial sweeteners here and there. It's the caffeine that I wanted to get away from.
I've never tried any of them sparkling waters. Mm-hmm. I go to the store and I've looked at them and I just can't bring myself to pay the money for them.
The plain water. Well, this here, I get a 28-ounce bottle of Saratoga for $1.99. Sometimes it's $1.49. So it's pretty cheap, and it's even cheaper on Amazon. And the flavored ones, then they start to get expensive. So, but just the regular plain water is pretty good. Keto Rockstars is listening while driving home, and flavors. That's where I'm like, I've got into like LaCroix, Bubbly, Waterloo. It's all disgusting. Some of them have some of the flavors are good, but your standard lemon, lime, grapefruit, bleh, I don't know. I've never found those to be appealing. So,
I was over at a buddy of mine's house one day, and he asked me if I wanted beer or whiskey or anything like that. I said, no, I'm fine. Coke, tea, whatever. No, I'm good. I'll just take water. He said, I got some water in the fridge, and pulled one out, and it was flavored water. Checked the ingredients, didn't look too terribly bad to me. It wasn't straight sugar. I took one drink of that and about gagged. It was so stinking sweet. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was horrible.
Lexa says she's going to be right back, starting a Bible study. What is the topic? What did you learn, or what's a verse that popped out to you? Let us know. Although that's not an open invite to have a religious discussion. We don't do that. So, but I definitely encourage people to do what she's doing. So, let's see here. I worked for Walmart in the bakery. They already had done molds that you have to let rise, and then you score them by hand, and that's it. Let's see here. They hacked the nucleus accumbens for dopamine response. Food scientists cracked this code decades ago. Ding, ding, ding. Please stop talking about sugar. Right. You know what we can talk about is tonight's topic. So, we're already 40 minutes in and we haven't touched it on it yet. And this was actually announced today by Mikhaila Peterson on her channel. And
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
yeah. And so what she's talking about is she's putting together a study that's going to study the lion diet and the keto diet and how it impacts rheumatoid arthritis and irritable bowel disease. And it's really interesting. So she's got a doctor on board that's going to help with the study. She's trying to raise funds. So if you go to her channel and you watch the video on it, there's a GoFundMe link. And she's trying to raise funds for the study. And her and her father or her family, together, they're gonna, if they don't raise enough to cover the cost of the study, they're gonna cover the difference. So the study's going regardless or not, but they're looking for financial support. Now, they're also looking for 160 individuals that about half of them with rheumatoid arthritis and half of them with irritable bowel disease that are diagnosed. And probably the only caveat is if you're a regular listening to this and you're on a carnivore diet or a keto diet, you are ineligible. They are looking for people who have not been doing a carnivore lion diet or keto diet up to this point. So what they want to do is take these 160 individuals and start them on this diet. And then they're going to study them over the course of, I can't remember, it was at least 6 months, maybe a year. And they're going to chart the progress. It costs $200 to participate. If you choose to apply, there's a questionnaire that you can apply to be selected for the study. If you complete the study, you get 100 of that back. But, during that entire time, you are going to have blood tests and other kind of lab works done rather regularly. It'll all be covered by the financing for the, that they're trying to raise and the cost of the study. So you'll get a very thorough blood work on you as being a participant in the study. So that's what they're looking for. So it's going to be a large study with 160 individuals, and it'll be the first of its kind, and it'll be really good. And then it's to show basically the impact of the keto diet and the lion diet on rheumatoid arthritis and irritable bowel disease. So if you know anybody that has RA or IBD and they are not doing keto carnivore, maybe you've tried to tell them like, hey, keto carnivore would really help, and they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. They're not believing you, because we face that a lot. People just don't believe us, and even if you've had RA and IBD and you've reversed it, and people who know about it, they almost still don't believe you. Like, oh, you got lucky. They can actually participate in this study. We're looking for participants, and that should be highly motivating. So if you haven't checked it out, I'd say go check it out. And I'm going to post some links right now. So the link to her video is right here coming up in the chat. So that is Mikhaila's video on the same topic. Click on it, open in another tab, and then watch it when we're done tonight. And then let's see here. This is the GoFundMe link. Oh, gosh. Let's try something else. Let me click on it. It was like it was a gigantic link. All right, that didn't work either. Let me try copying the text and pasting it. Copy, paste. There's the GoFundMe link. And then the application is... Let's see if I can find a better version of that. There we go. Here's a shortened link. And here's the application that you can send somebody to possibly be considered as part of that study. So I think that's exciting.
It is.
Tell me what you think about it in the chat. What do you think about this? Wouldn't it be nice to see a rather large official study on the lion diet with the results and the abstract and everything available on PubMed, so we can read it and we can refer others to it. I think that's awesome myself. This is just what the carnivore community needs, is more studies like this. So I think it's a good thing. All right.
Well, and just about all of us that have arthritis, and I don't know the different arthritises. I've got arthritis. I don't know what it is, but any kind of bowel disease, we can all testify to the fact that this has helped us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it may not have fixed us completely, but it's helped us. I mean, my Crohn's was reversed. In fact, I had an appointment with my new doctor today, my new primary care physician, and I had to get my annual physical. And you know, so he's going through all my issues and problems that I used to have, all my injuries and all my surgeries, and at one point, I said, he was asking when was my last colonoscopy, and I told him it was about 3 years ago when they were trying to figure out what was wrong with my guts, and it turned out they diagnosed me with Crohn's disease. He said, "Oh, so you got Crohn's disease?" I said, "Nope, not anymore. I reversed it." He didn't even ask how I did it. He just, okay. I said, "Nope, totally reversed it."
All right. Now, do you think he was like awesome, or do you think he was like, I'm not even going to let the go there?
I don't know. I don't know him well enough to read him. Now he's a DO,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked him why he went the DO route instead of the MD, and he said because they get more training, they get more schooling, and
Mm-hmm.
he wants to. He said he wants to be the best doctor he can be, and so he wants to be as educated as he can be. So that tells me a little something about him. And I told him, I says, well, I chose a DO because it's my understanding DOs tend to be more holistic, and they also tend to want to look at the root cause and not just treat the symptoms. And he agreed with that. And so it'll be interesting in the future when I talk to him to see how he feels about what I'm doing, you know, but I'm going to let him know that I firmly believe in letting food be your medicine and medicine be your food.
You know, that's interesting that you said that the DO said that he gets more schooling as a DO than an MD, because I always feel like the MDs have this air of cockiness about them that would make you think it's the other way around. You know?
He said that he has to go through all the same schooling that the MD does, but at the end of that, he has to go through another, I forget how long he said, of schooling to another school to get his certification or his doctorate in DO or whatever they call it.
Interesting, yeah, because I always thought MDs kind of looked down their nose at the DO.
They do, because because I've talked to doctors about this, and yeah, they think that these guys, you know, they're just holistic quacks, and because they don't believe in treating the root cause.
That's very interesting.
Treat it all with drugs.
All right, well, that's pretty cool. Yeah. All right. Well, I figure if I ever switch, then I'll probably look for a DO. So I had a DO before my current doctor. He was a nice guy. So I tore my distal tendon bicep, and you know, I didn't have any insurance, and he worked with me, and without surgery, you know, and I'm fully functional now, you know. So that's it. And he was a DO, so that's pretty neat. All right. Here's a question. Carnivore Helix asks, do you guys think that diet pop is the same thing as the Waterloos, like sparkling water? Is it just as addicting? I think the diet pop is probably more addicting. So, because your Waterloo and your LaCroix and your bubbly, you look at the ingredients, it's ingredients, water, natural flavors. And It's mostly that carbonated water, and it's been flavored with something. They don't, obviously natural flavors isn't very detailed, but I think the soda, you've got the artificial sweetener, which can be addictive. You got the caffeine, which can be addictive, and there's a few other ingredients too. I'm not sure about their addictive quality, but a lot of chemicals in that. Whereas in your water, it's pretty much just water, even the Waterloo and LaCroix and everything else. So I think as far as addiction goes, diet soda is going to be more addicting than Waterloo. It was for me. I could drink diet sodas with ease. I can't stand Waterloo.
It's interesting. You speak about the ingredients, and for the average person, and really for us too, unless you're a chemist, you have no idea what them ingredients are. You really don't know. They're just words to you. And there's a guy on YouTube, and I don't subscribe to him, but he'll pop up my feed every once in a while, where he will take a beaker and he'll say, so you want to eat this or you want to drink this? Well, this is what you're getting. And he'll take those individual ingredients and put them in that beaker just to show you what those items really are. Because when you see them in the Coke or in the food, whatever it is you're doing, you just see the food or the Coke. You don't see the ingredients. And so when you see the individual ingredients and how ugly it gets when he puts all this together, it's just nasty looking. It'll darn sure turn you off.
I've seen maybe the same content creator. He'll do that with beverages, and he'll do that with even like Doritos and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's probably the same guy.
Yeah, and once you watch that, you're like, oh.
Well, it's like you always hear. You don't want to see how the sausage is made.
Right. John Together Strong says he has fully reversed his diabetes. Awesome. Very good. Good for you.
That's a good job.
Says the beard is looking good. I tried this thin beard thing, so instead of the full beard, and at first I was like, I don't know if I like that, but it's actually grown on me. I've kind of really taking a liking to it. So thank you very much. So I was thinking about growing out the full beard, like you still see on some of my thumbnails. I still use that old picture once in a while, but the thin beard is pretty cool. Let's see here. Yeah, John, amazing. That really is the full diabetes reversal. Good work. And yeah, we know Thomas is still working on his. Oh, we got Paul on screen still working on his. That's okay. Very good. So it can be done for many people. That might not be able to be done for everybody, depending, but I think it can certainly be done. So it's like my ulcerative colitis. I've reversed ulcerative colitis, but I know people doing carnivore that have not had the same success as I have with their ulcerative colitis.
What if you went back to your diet of 4 years ago? Would you expect it to return?
My ulcerative colitis would return if I resumed drinking coffee in the quantities I used to, because that was the biggest change is in 2019 before the carnivore diet. I was trying to find out what the root cause of my ulcerative colitis was, because my insurance wouldn't cover my medication that year, and it came back with a vengeance. And I actually was surfing different forums like Carnivore Talk, but these were dedicated towards irritable bowel diseases. And I came across people discussing their ulcerative colitis, and I started realizing that a lot of people kept saying that coffee was a trigger. As I'm sitting there on the toilet, because I couldn't get out of my house till about noon, because I drank a pot a day. I'd start the day off 32 ounces at home, and then I'd pour the rest of the pot in the thermos and take it with me. And then I wouldn't eat, because if I ate something, I'd be right back in the John. So I'm on the toilet reading the internet. What can I do about this ulcerative colitis? And I noticed that people were saying that coffee is a trigger, and just like anybody else who's addicted to coffee, they're like, oh yeah, I know, but I got to have that 1 cup, and it's worth the pain for the 1 cup, and people are making excuses for it. And I look at this and I'm like, well, damn, I drink a pot a day, and if that's a trigger, maybe that's my problem. And I had an event coming up. I had a 3-day religious convention where I had some duties where I had volunteered for. I had to be there at like 7 a.m. and stay till almost 7 p.m. I was worried, and I couldn't get out of the bathroom until noon. So I was really worried about having to cancel because I couldn't fulfill my obligations. So right before that weekend, I was like, all right, I'm going to give this a try. And I stopped drinking coffee. The day that I woke up and did not have coffee, I didn't go to the bathroom at all. And then like the next day, it was like 4 or 5 days before I went to the bathroom again. And I was just like, I was blown away, because I was used to having to go in and sit down upwards of 25 times a day. So if I returned to drinking a pot of coffee a day, yes, the ulcerative colitis would rear its ugly head again. But I've been off medication and more or less symptom-free since 2019. Now, I had a colonoscopy, and I still tested positive in 2020, and I still tested positive in 2022. But then I started the carnivore diet in 2023, and when I had a colonoscopy in September of 2024, the biopsy came back negative. So I officially have paperwork that says I have completely cured my ulcerative colitis, which is an incurable autoimmune disease. So I think carnivore helped, but quitting coffee was the main catalyst for getting over my ulcerative colitis. So now, does that mean the rest of you have to quit drinking your toxic coffees? No, not necessarily. People react to it different. I'm sure I'll get a lot of thumbs down and a lot of unsubs if I tell you to quit drinking coffee.
It kind of makes sense to me, because coffee for a lot of people is a laxative. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, you have your morning cup of coffee and say, yep, time to hit the men's room. And, see, I'm starting to phrase things in the following manner. I say, I maintain my health, or I'm improving my health by what I eat. I'm not reversing my diabetes. I'm controlling my blood sugar by what I eat. Mm-hmm. Okay. And because it's just, it's to some degree it's semantics. Okay. And I don't know, I may for the rest of my life have to take at least a little bit of insulin every day. And it just may be, I don't like that, but I don't like being dependent on anything. And, but, because I've tried, I've quit the insulin cold turkey, and I've weaned down off it, and then the blood sugar just takes off 300-400. Mm-hmm. Just like a type 1 diabetic.
At least that's only insulin. That's going to be pretty benign. It's not like it's a hardcore pharmaceutical drug or something, so.
Yeah. You just, we just don't know. There's just not that, there's people out there who believe when it comes to diabetes, you can have an A1C below the 5.7, but if you're doing it with drugs and or insulin, then you're still going to have all the repercussions of the diabetes. I don't think like that. And, but there's, I wish they could have refined, or they could have improved or modified, like metformin or berberine. But the things that drug does to you, and berberine is a bad thing to take, because it really gets into your B vitamin. All your B vitamins are affected by berberine and metformin. they're a disaster. And I never realized until now, I guess maybe this year, how vital vitamin B is. All the vitamin B complexes are very, very important to our health. And
yes, they are. And you know where you get those from, right?
You get them from your meat. You get them from beef. But you know, Dr. Berry had and I use Dr. Berry as an encyclopedia. But I get fed all of his. He just had a thing on pork. Cooking pork low and slow preserves the thiamine in the pork. And pork is one of the best sources of thiamine. And you need thiamine in your body, in your diet. Very, very important. And it's highly absorbable from the pork. But as soon as you go high temp on the pork, whether it's the bacon, so I turned the burner down on my bacon. It takes me twice as long to cook bacon now. But he says it's better for you. All pork, cooking it slower and lower. You preserve more of the thiamine.
Right now, I used to cook it on a skillet, but I just get grease all over myself. So I've actually started putting it in the oven. I foil line a cookie sheet, 350 degrees, sometimes 400 for like a half an hour. And then I think it comes out perfect. So.
Yeah. 350 is a good
crispy but not burnt. So.
Yeah.
Carnivore Helix answered my question. It is a sugar-free. It's sugar-free, and they're called Liquid IV. Okay, so yeah, it's the flavoring. I think I know what you're talking about. There's a section of the store where they got all these little bottles that you can squeeze little flavorings into your drinks. So, yeah, I've seen those. I could give that a try. So, if it's the right flavors, let's see here. And he's saying he's donated $20. I think that's to the upcoming study that Mikhaila Peterson and Dr. Rob Abbot are putting together, looking for 160 volunteers who either have rheumatoid arthritis or irritable bowel disease, as well as financial support to help finance this study. All right. So my sis has RA and swears by her veggies. Great cause to donate to. And there's a go. There might be something that she might be interested, depending on just how strong she swears on those veggies. Might be worth a shot.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, is that if she swears on it, is that working for her? Is she basically eating like a whole food diet? That could be if she's off the processed food on some whole food. I'm sure there's some benefit there too. So, all righty. I'll tell my sis, but doubt she'll agree to remove any of her lean chicken or veggies. So, all right. Well, it's only temporary. She only has to eat nothing but red meat for 6 months straight. All right. I wanted to sign up because I was like, I get to see Mikhaila pop in the visit, like she said, and then I went back and listened to, oh man, I'm not a candidate. Yeah. She said she'll be, part of the, video conference meetings and things like that. At least I get to meet her at Meat Stock. Oh, Meat Stock. Yeah, that's coming up. I don't know if I'll go to that. I first came across Meat Stock last year and it looks tempting. It still looks tempting again. But I'm already going to commit to.
Is that the one in Gatlinburg,
Tennessee? I think so. It's in the spring.
That's a horrible place. That's all I can tell you. Traffic. Well, the traffic is just horrendous. There's only one main highway. The traffic is just. Oh man,
out in some like prairie. Meat Stock 2026. I'll look it up.
I think they're having it at the convention center right near the airport there. So you could get there, stay there, and have to
Smoky
move
Mountains
around.
of Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Oh my gosh, the guest list is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so let's see here. So there's a weekend convention pass for $295. And then there's the VIP pass for, oh, it's sold out, but it was $1,000. That lets you sleep sleep on site in some sort of cabin with some of the guests, I think. So, oh, and there's VIP dinners also. Okay, yeah. So you got your $300, and then you're gonna have to probably pay for a hotel and travel arrangements too if you wanted to go. And that is May 1st through 3rd. So I don't know. It would be interesting. I already signed up for like next fall's Hack Your Health convention, so I'm gonna give that a try. That one's in Florida, so that's already one trip that I gotta finance. So I don't know. Maybe I'll go to that and maybe I'll start getting into these things. I did like the Columbus, Ohio meetup, and I still want to arrange a Northeast Ohio, Western Pennsylvania meetup for those in my area, because we don't have those things around here, and I think we need to. I would think those with rheumatoid arthritis would be willing to try anything for 6 months. Well, except my... All right. Yeah, I shouldn't put that on the screen. Sorry about that. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Oh my gosh, I tore my bicep. It was awful. Glad you had a full recovery. So, not like a full recovery. So, it didn't end up being a complete tear, but it's a partial tear. And I don't know if I can roll this sleeve up enough, but I still have the. Oh, let me try and get on camera here. There's still like this gap right here because the bicep rolls up, and I find it's easy to fatigue that bicep turning doorknobs and screwdrivers. So, but I can set tile, I can carry heavy objects, buckets of water. I mean, it doesn't impact my job. It doesn't impact my life whatsoever, as long as I'm not using a screwdriver. So I use a power screwdriver. Carnivore Helix likes one flavor of Waterloo, and that's the blackberry and lemon. Yeah, blackberry anything is almost good. I don't think I've ever had a blackberry drink that didn't taste good. It's a good flavor. All right, let's see here. We have someone coming on, and I see them moving their lips, which means they're legit. Hi, Aaron. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Hey,
Great.
hello.
Oh, we're doing very good. So a little cold here in Ohio.
I'm in New Hampshire, so we can keep score.
Okay. All right. It is well, my computer says it's 14, but I think it's more like 10. I don't think the computer's been updated. I know the overnight low is like 9 or 10 tonight. So, and we got like a foot of snow, at least probably a foot and a half in the places where it drifts. So it's stormed for the last 2 days.
Yeah, we had a little bit of snow the other day, and we've been cross-country skiing for about 2 weeks now.
All right.
Yeah.
That means you like the snow.
Love snow. I love snow.
All right. Well, glad to hear it. So how you been besides cross-country skiing and enjoying the snow? What's anything new with you?
The fall has been a health adventure that I did not expect, but I'm bouncing to the other side of it with success. So I don't know if I've shared on other groups. I've been dealing with chronic relapsing babesia, which is a parasitic blood infection that comes with Lyme. And lo and behold, the babesia itself depletes your folate, which I never would have imagined as a carnivore. And the folate deficiency then causes a B12 absorption deficiency. And I started developing strange neuropathies. So that was a little freaky. It was manifesting in breathing, speaking, singing, and a little bit in my legs and my knees. And we figured it out. I'm treating it. I'm recovering. But yeah, an unexpected adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And Babesia is treated with antimalarials and antibiotics and herbals. And those have been giving me a run for my money too. But I'm starting to see light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully we'll be rid of this blood parasite infection.
All right. Well, hope so. So sorry to hear
God
that.
bless you.
Yeah.
You know, it's we say carnivore cures everything, and that's a really nice thing to think. I see you shaking your head. It doesn't. It certainly does allow healing and recovery in a way I never did before I was carnivore. So, and it lifts the mood lifting, gives you a lot of hope while you're doing the other healing that you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
A carnivore in and of itself won't cure anything. It can't. It's just
Right.
a way of eating. What it does is it allows your body to heal itself.
Yeah,
But everybody's body is different. Everybody has a different physiology. Therefore, what works for one don't necessarily work for another. And there's some things that are just more powerful than what the body is. But carnivore will definitely help in almost all situations. It may not allow your body to completely cure, but it can definitely help.
exactly. So I haven't seen you guys in a while because I was doing more resting and focusing on family and just putting my energies towards trying to figure out what suddenly was going on with the rapidly progressing neuropathies that were, quite frankly, scary.
Mm-hmm.
But we figured it out. I had a few months of really abnormal blood work and some really good providers that jumped all over it. And, you know, now I'm on the healing end of it. But neuropathy is a
Good.
weird thing. I don't know if any of you guys have experience with it.
No.
It can come on real quick, like it did in this case. But I expect to some of the neuropathy with my breathing muscles and my legs to take up to a year before it's going to be extinct from my system. So I'm a little
Very
hesitant
slow.
to start my downhill skiing because I don't feel like I have the same leg control as I did last winter. But I'm doing fine with the cross country so far. I'll start downhill after the holidays.
And that would be peripheral neuropathy, right? In your hands and feet.
Well, I've got the peripheral neuropathy in my hands and feet, but then about October, I started having swallowing problems.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I sing classically with a local choir,
Mm-hmm.
and having a hard time matching note tones for about 3 or 4 weeks. It was really, really weird and having a really hard time breathing when I was singing.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, both of those two acute, the swallowing and the singing and the breathing, were only maybe 6 weeks of severity. And once we figured out the folate deficiency and I started pushing high doses of folate and B12, I was able to see it reverse
Mm-hmm.
pretty significantly in a couple of weeks, but I think I'll be a whole lot better a year out from now.
Mm-hmm.
So
All
anyway,
right.
I've been stalking you guys instead of participating because I just didn't have the bandwidth.
That's okay. We love all our stalkers. All right. Well, glad to hear that it looks like you're on the mend.
Yes, thank you
So,
very much.
glad to hear that. Yeah. And yeah, carnivore often seems to be lifted up on a pedestal as if it's some godsend or miracle cure. And it's not. But the reason that it gets that kind of treatment And the same thing happens to veganism, by the way. You know, when someone quits
Sure.
the standard American diet and they change their diet and they see some immediate benefits, especially when they were told that what they had was irreversible, nothing could be done. All you got to do, you got to take these pills and medications. And then, like, you know, so we go carnivore, we fix it, we're able to get off pills and medications. It feels, from our perspective, it's a miracle, you know, and because this is what we were told, you know, and so we often, you know, then we become evangelizers in the miracle that we've experienced, and that can kind of, you know, to an outsider, maybe blow it up and make it more surreal and divine sounding than it actually is, you know. So it's not magical, it's not a miracle, it is science for sure. And but it's, you know, it's not the be all end all, you know. No one's going to inherit everlasting life for only eating cows for the rest of their days. It doesn't happen that way. So you're not going to be forever young. You're never not going to, you know, you're not going to have, there's still things or issues that could crop up or take you out. So, but you mentioned the mood, like it gave you the mood or the mental disposition to deal with this, and on a higher level or more positive way than you might have before. And I think that's very true too. I used to be super impressionable, and especially to be depressed, to be made depressed, to be made sad, to feel hopeless. And now when trials and tribulations come my way, I don't feel that sense of despair anymore. I feel like I've got my head about me. So
yeah, no, that was you know, suddenly having swallowing and breathing problems. I was able to be sounder. Is that an appropriate term? Sounder.
More sound, have more sound of mind.
More sound of mind with going, okay, this is coming on quick. That means it can go away just as quick. And I can look for solutions, and I've got a lot of resources at hand. Also, I'm probably a more demonstratively spiritual person than maybe some other people. So I shared with friends, pray that the doctors have the discretion, and other sorts of prayers that lifted me up and got me through. Having the support of friends, knowing that they were on my side as I was working through it, made a big difference too.
All right. Very good. All right. Well, glad you've joined us on screen. That's awesome. And we see Rick has joined us on screen. And by the way, we have room for 10. So if you'd like to join us on screen, I'm going to post the link right now. You just click that, and it'll open up a browser window in your device. You don't need to download any software or anything, and you too can join us on screen. So let's give some attention to Rick. How are you doing?
Well, pretty good. You know, Monday is usually when we have my little get together with friends. So that ended, and I came home and I popped on here.
All right. Last Monday it was a barbecue.
Yep, and it was a barbecue tonight as well.
Okay. All right. Very good. That's nice. I remember back in the days that you were working late on Mondays.
Yep, I used to be, but there's hardly any work now, so it's turned into a get-together day.
All right, fun. So it's a good way to spend a Monday, both with your friends and here. So, you know,
well, and I've been having more and more influence on my friends. They're eating less and less duck food, and I can already see improvements. A friend of mine's losing weight, and he struggled with his weight for years, trying the gym, trying all these different supplements and everything, and nothing was working. And he finally says, you know what? I am sick and tired of seeing you eat all that you want, eating all those calories and never gaining any weight. I'm going to try this. So he started. He got rid of no more snacks, no more sodas, and I mean, no more bread. He's still eating vegetables. And I said, look, there's worse things you can eat than vegetables. If you like that broccoli, you like that salad, go for it. Just don't put the salad dressing. So I'm convincing him, get away from that. And he's losing weight. He's
Good
already
deal.
lost like 25 pounds.
Awesome. Yeah.
Effortless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what sold me. When I broke my ankle, and over the next 6 weeks, I sat in a chair playing PlayStation and watching Netflix, and I still took off 10 more pounds without any effort. And I'm like, oh my, this is something here. So.
And you know that I'm usually physically active, but there were times like in 1995 and the early 2000s, I was in IT just like a lot of people. And I spent a lot of time in front of a computer and a lot of time working in offices. And I never got fat. The only time in my life I ever added body fat is when I was taking care of my mom and I was only sleeping about 3 or 4 hours a day. And I did put on body fat. But as soon as the stress went away, within a month, it was all gone. So this is what I've been trying to tell my friends. And the thing is that nobody listens initially. It's one of those things you can talk and talk and talk. You can give them all the experts or whatever, and they don't listen because their doctor told them this, somebody they saw online or some TV show they watched told them to eat that. And you just have to move more and eat less and all that nonsense. But it doesn't work. I asked a friend of mine, I said, have you ever seen one person who went on a diet and joined the gym ever lose any weight for any period of time? Well, they might lose weight for a little bit, but then they stop going to the gym. They get back to their old habits. And then there's a holiday and they eat all this duck food and it just comes back. And then they complain, oh, I worked so hard and now I gained the weight back. I shouldn't even bother. I'm just going to do whatever I want and enjoy myself. Like, look, I don't know how you can enjoy yourself when your gut's sticking out so far, you can't even see yourself when you have to use the bathroom. I mean, seriously, that's just embarrassing. Oh, I'm just getting older. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to get fat and you don't have to get unhealthy, but maybe they'll learn. I think they're learning from me. The older I get, I think the more convincing I get.
Well, isn't it something that people be so quick to listen to and believe what a complete stranger says to them about something that they know absolutely nothing about, and yet with their friend right in front of them that they've known for however long they've known them, years, possibly a lifetime.
30, 40 years.
Yeah, 30, 40 years. And they see the proof right in front of them, the absolute proof. And yet they won't believe what you say, but they'll believe what a complete stranger says, or what they saw on the internet. It's odd how that works.
I can't figure it out. I just don't get it. I like to look at results. When I see somebody doing something that works, I try to see what they did. And I told another friend of mine, I said, look, how many other, I'm going to be 58 in a few months. How many other almost 60-year-olds do you know that are on no medications, work hard all the time, have a full head of dark hair, doesn't color his hair, skin doesn't look that bad? I try to tell them, find another one that's like me, and then follow him if you don't like what I'm telling you. Well, it's just genetics. I said, you knew my dad, you knew my mom. It's not genetics. It's a lifestyle. It's the diet and the lifestyle.
So that begs the question: when your parents were 58, how did they look compared to you?
Well, they looked older. Let's put it that way. Now, my mom, she didn't look too bad because she didn't go outside much, so she wasn't in the sun. My dad was in the sun a lot, like I am, but his skin was a lot more. It had a lot more spots in it, and he had a lot of wrinkles, but he looked older. And also, both of them had to wear glasses. Their eyesight wasn't that good. And my dad used to get athlete's foot. He got itching. He had a lot of eye issues. He was always putting drops in his eyes and having to wash them out with some solution. His teeth, he had a lot of cavities. I only have 2 cavities from when I was a kid, and I haven't been to the dentist since 1986. The last time I went to the dentist is just when my parents were not going to have me on the health plan anymore. I was going to turn 18. I was the end of high school. That's the last time I went to a dentist. And look, my teeth are still there. And I've had people tell me that my teeth look good, even though they're crooked. They told me I had to get my wisdom teeth pulled in the top because my teeth, see on the bottom, they're crooked. The top was crooked too. They straightened out. when I was on the carnivore diet. Now, I didn't know at the time, but I found out recently that can help too. There's just so many things that have happened to me. And like you said, I've had friends I've known since high school. I got a friend of mine that I knew since junior high. When the two of us stand next to each other, he looks like my dad, really. And he's already had pancreatitis, gallbladder out. Has like joint pains. He's fallen. He tripped on the sidewalk. I ride on the most uneven sidewalks. I live in a junkie house. I climb over stuff. I work under unbelievably bad conditions, and I never fall. And somebody falls and then they have all these pains. I said, look, and I've told my friends, you don't get hurt because you fall. You fall because you're sick. When you don't have the coordination and the strength, maybe your blood sugar's off, maybe something's wrong. That's when you fall. Healthy people don't fall, unless, of course, you have a coconut fall on your head or something. But the reality is people blame their surroundings, and they don't think about what they eat. They don't think about trying to improve their health just a little at a time. They do whatever the TV tells them, whatever the doctor tells them. And if it doesn't work, they just double down on it. They keep doing the same thing over and over again, and they expect a different result, and it doesn't come.
Definition of insanity.
Yep, that's what I was thinking too. That's the definition of insanity. Yep. All right. Well, good that you're getting some listening ears, and especially to one friend in particular who sounds like they've really taken to heart what you've said and they're seeing results. So that's good.
Well, the problem is they got to stay with it, because I've known people that have tried and they've done well, and then the wife, the kids, the family, or whatever, they get them in the holidays, they get into the duck food pond, they start eating the duck food, the cravings come back. Next thing you know, the next time you see them, the stomach's sticking out. I'm like, oh no, what happened? Well, Thanksgiving, Christmas. But my friend got through Thanksgiving okay. So I have hopes for him for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the difference between a diet and a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
With a lifestyle, you don't go back to that stuff. You don't want it. You don't desire it. It's gone. All that's gone. But you got to be on it long enough to get that out of your system, to get those cravings out of your system. And that's the key, because the holidays don't do anything to me. They don't mean a thing to me when it comes to the food. I'm the only one that is a super strict carnivore in my family, and I'm the only one that doesn't indulge in all the other stuff come the holidays. And so all that can be put out in front of me, and it does not bother me at all. I don't have any cravings for it. It means nothing. Like you said, it's animal food. It's not human food to me.
And the thing is, to me, it just seems like a downgrade. Why would you eat a bunch of seeds and a bunch of stuff made from seeds when you could have a delicious piece of meat or even some eggs?
Mm-hmm.
You could have some quality, lower entropy food, something that is easier to digest. It's not going to give you any problems. Why would you be tempted by a bunch of cheap processed crap that's made in such a way to make it look like it's something good, and then make it so it's addictive so you'll like the taste? But it just seems like a downgrade. To me, it's just so simple. Get a piece of meat, cook it the way you like it, eat it, and that's it. You don't have to worry. This is a lot of work, and my friends, to try to make baked goods and try to make some of these vegetable dishes is a lot of work. The wife's got to be in the kitchen, stirring the pot, mixing ingredients. It's like a chemistry experiment. You got to put this much of this and this much of that. And it's like, oh, and then if you try to help them in the kitchen, it's really frustrating. Oh, can you get me that spices? They get the little cup and they pour it in, then they pour it in, they stir it around and take a taste of it. And I'm like, oh, how boring. But when I cook, it's really simple. I go in the kitchen, I throw the stuff in the pot, I turn on the heat, I go outside, do what I got to do. Every so often I come back inside, I look at it. Okay, that's cooking. If I'm cooking burgers, I'll cook them right there where I'm working. Take the little grill out there, put the burgers on it, or put a pan out there, cook it. You hear by the sizzle and the smell. It's so simple. And the only thing I have to put on the food, if I ever do, is a little salt. And I hardly ever use the stuff. I don't need any spices. They got tons of spices over there. They have this one, has a little rotisserie. It must have like 100 little spice jars in it. I'm looking at this stuff. I'm like, what is all this stuff? A bunch of seeds and ground up powders. And for what? They have to do all that. It's like, what was that story about Columbus going to India so they could get spices
Spice barrel, yep.
to make the cheap food
Yep.
taste good so they could
Yep.
feed the slaves?
Well,
What's the point?
and not only that, spices were a lot of the spices in the 1500s, it was to cover up the taste of the meat, which had started to spoil.
Well, that was what ketchup A1 and Heinz 57 was invented for.
Yep.
Because the meat spoiled because there was no refrigeration back in the early 1900s. So they had to invent something to cover up the spoiled meat taste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And people to this day still use it to cover up the taste of their meat when the meat's no longer spoiled. And that's you bring up an interesting thing there, Rick. When we clean up our bodies, when we clean up our act with eating, let's say a pure carnivore diet, we start actually tasting our food. Our food starts having flavor. We don't need the seasonings and the spices. It's just amazing how that works.
I was like a crack addict with black pepper. I put black pepper and a lot of it on everything.
Yeah,
I haven't had black pepper. I haven't had black pepper in over 3 years now.
Yeah.
Pepper grinder?
Yeah, I look at somebody like you, Rick, and there's a little envy there on my part because, I think, man, where would I be? How would I be if I could have started back like you in 1983? 1983 was the year my son was born. But I looked at it and think, man, if I had done this back then, where would I be today? How would I be today? Instead,
you don't know.
I've been on this for a little bit over 2.5 years, and I'm 100 times better. Okay. 90 times better than I was, but I'll never fix the injuries that I've got. Some of that stuff will never be healed. Because they're joint injuries. But I just think, man, what a waste it was, to eat like I ate and to be like I am now. When I can look at like you or some of the other people that have been on it for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, man, if only I could go back, but I can't. So I have to start from where I'm at and keep on trucking. But at least I'm here. We have a saying for people that moved to Texas, that they weren't born a Texan, but they got here as quick as they could. Well, I'm kind of that way. I wasn't I wasn't a carnivore early, but I got here as quick as I could.
Yeah, I have similar thoughts. Like, if I think I say that all the time. If I could go back in time and tell my 20-year-old self about, what I know now, would I listen? I would hope so.
I probably wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I was too smart for myself back then. I probably wouldn't listen, but still, I just wish I would have started earlier.
And if you haven't suffered from your addiction yet, why stop?
Yep.
Well, if I go back in time and be like, listen, you better listen to me because, you're going to have stage 4, stage 5 kidney disease by the time you're 50. If you don't, that might be pretty persuasive.
And everybody that smokes is told the whole time they're smoking that those coffin nails are going to kill them.
Mm-hmm. And they still do it anyway. Yeah.
They still do it anyways. And I remember I had some poor times in my life, to where all I could afford was to go down to the day old bread store, and buy a loaf of bread for 50 cents. And that would be all I would have to eat for days on end. It was just bread, So I don't know that I even could have done what I wanted to do, back in those days, but
I did when I was
those
poor.
days are long gone.
The thing is that I'm not the good example because I didn't start this as a healthy diet. I started because I hated my life and I wanted to give myself a heart attack. I never decided, I didn't know this was healthy until a few years ago. Even when my dad was sick and he says he wanted to die, I said, why don't you eat like I do? Eat steak all the time. You'll go faster. But the thing is, I had no idea. I didn't know till maybe 4 years ago that this was actually a healthy diet.
That's just
I had
crazy.
no idea. Yeah.
That is crazy.
I was sure that I was going to drop dead. I was absolutely sure. But the problem is I just felt so energetic and so good and never felt like everybody else I knew. I'm thinking, when is a heart attack coming? I know it's coming, but when is it coming? And I know people that have had, I got a friend that has heart disease. He's out of breath. He loses his energy, doesn't feel good. I'm thinking, okay, my dad got that too when he got heart disease. So I know the symptoms, but I'm going up and down stairs. I'm running back and forth. I'm carrying things, climbing trees, whatever. No heart attack. I'm like, what is wrong? And I keep eating the fatty meat all the time, the deep fried and pure lard and beef tallow and everything just to make it as deadly as possible. And here I am. It didn't work.
But you see, you're giving your body the building blocks that it needs to repair. So it's got the fatty acids you need. It's got the amino acids you need. And you go into any hospital and talk to a wound care doctor, and they'll tell you, the first thing they ask the patients, they're probably the only ones that ask, what are you eating and how much are you eating? And they want that protein up, okay? And wound care can be a continuous thing for every week, for week after week after week. And when you come back, every now and then they'll go, how's your appetite? How are you eating? How's that going? Okay? Because they want to make sure you didn't drop off. And I think we recover quicker because we got the supply chains already there. We got the building blocks in our bodies. We're putting them in our mouth every day. You know, it's that's why the ruminant meat, I think, and I don't know, I think eggs are essential, okay? At least for me, I need eggs, I think. I'm hoping anyhow. And I think I'm hoping eggs will contribute to overall better health. So I have like 4 eggs every day. And sometimes I don't want to, but I go, oh, I gotta have my eggs. And,
I used to eat a dozen eggs a day, trying to give myself a heart attack. Didn't work. You know, 2 weeks ago, my cat ripped my leg apart. Guess what? It's all healed.
Yep.
And I've never had an antibiotic in my entire life. And I've been scraped and cut and hurt many times between animals, poisonous plants, mechanical items, stepped on rusty nails, and I'm still here. And I know people that they get the wound on their feet. It doesn't heal. They have to go and get it wrapped. And it's like, why is that? Well, of course, their blood sugar's too high. They find out later, you're type 2 diabetic now. Oh, they told me not to eat red meat because it causes diabetes. Like, really? Have you seen how much red meat I ate? I ate at least 2 pounds of red meat per day, sometimes 6 pounds a day when I could afford it. Stuffed myself with as much fatty red meat as I could. And I'm fine. When last time I went to the doctor, your cholesterol is the highest of any 28-year-old I've ever seen. You're going to have heart disease in your 50s. I'm almost 58, and I'm still not dead. So it's like I've gotten lately to the point where I'm just frustrated because all those years I was experiencing this, and I never realized that it was a secret to health. At least for me, I don't know, maybe for other people, but I had no idea. I was absolutely certain. They told me eating 1 egg was like smoking 2 cigarettes. So I said, well, if I'm going to get a pack of cigarettes a day, I need to eat at least a dozen eggs a day. That way I'll get it. And nothing, nothing at all. The only time I've been sick is when I went plant-based. I had a flu. I got so sick I couldn't even breathe at night. It was a nightmare. But since then, I'm fine. It's crazy.
Well, you were a little under the weather a week or so ago, and 2 days later, you were doing fine.
Exactly. And
Remember?
that's what happens
Yeah.
every time I get sick. Same thing
So-
with COVID.
Yeah. So speaking of under the weather, so my wife has taken the last week and a half off work, and because she got some sort of upper respiratory something. Started off as a sore throat, and then a couple days later it went into the sinuses. Then a couple days after that it went into the chest, and I've been in the house still sleeping in the same bed. There was one day where I felt a little tickle in my throat, and I thought, I think I might have caught it. But then the next day it was gone, and that's it. That was it for me. But it totally put her down, which is very common. Now she has asthma, and it doesn't do carnivore diet or anything. But yeah, whenever she catches a cold, it puts her through the ringer. Whereas I can catch the exact same cold, and next day I'm fine. So, and it's kind of ironic because then my doctor, every time I see him, he tells me I don't have the most robust immune system, and I don't know why he says that. Because I'm like, I have got a very robust immune system. But yeah, anytime I've had people at work, coworkers, people that work for me, my own wife, friends in the congregation, they've caught something, and then they're down for a week or two, and I had a little touch of it, and then it was gone just like that. And I really think that a lot of that comes down to my dietary lifestyle, so. All right. So Amy's back. Let's see here. Let me throw that up on the screen here. Amy's back. I'm going to catch up on a few chats. I only got 5 of them starred because chat's actually not very busy tonight. So I wanted to address some of these here. Carnivore Helix, who's not with us anymore, he actually signed off to go to sleep. I'm going to quit cold turkey with the diet pop. I'll finish the last 2, and then that's it. All right. Well, I hope you succeed. So very good. I know how difficult it is. I've been wanting to quit diet pop for several years now, and finally did it. I'm 2 weeks in, and very happy with the results. I can see the difference. And then let's see here. Aaron disappeared. Okay. I saw someone left the screen. Bride's Biscuit says the carbonation and sparkling waters creates carbonic acid, making it acidic, pH to 3 or 4, and weakens tooth enamel over time. I quit over this concern. Okay, so I think that's partially true, only because the information I've read is a little different. So carbonated water does produce carbonic acid. That is true, making it acidic, slightly more acidic. From what I've read, like if water has a pH of 7, carbonated water is like 5.5, not 3 or 4. So it's considered mildly corrosive. And so it's generally going to be completely safe, provided that it's not what you're drinking all day long. Like have some regular water throughout the day. But if you have a carbonated water or 2 in the evening, it's probably going to be fine. 2 would be, don't hold it in your mouth, swish it around your mouth, just drink it. 3 would be, don't brush your teeth and then turn around and have carbonated water within the next, say, at least 30 minutes, maybe 60 preferred, because when you brush your teeth, that's going to soften your enamel, and then you don't want to put carbonic acid on that already softened enamel. So there's truth to that statement for sure, but I don't think it's not something that concerns me. Let me just put it that way. So, especially I've been drinking diet sodas like a fish for the last 30 years. So, and I still have my teeth and they're doing fine. So, Bill Cook says artificial sweeteners may cause cortisol levels to go up. So that's good to know. And my only artificial sweeteners now is I put a little stevia in my morning tea. And then if I get unsweet tea out on the road, I'll usually sweeten it with whatever happens to be available there. But outside of that, I'm just drinking the water. Mikhaila's excitement about the study was cute. Definitely go watch Mikhaila's video. Like that video, share that video, especially if you know people with rheumatoid arthritis or irritable bowel disease, or people who'd be interested in funding, making a donation to help fund that study. I think it's I think this is definitely a good cause to promote and to contribute to. And the last one I have starred, Carnivore Helix says, I had to wipe out coffee, but then I wanted pop again. Sigh. I'm going to have to be more stubborn with myself without the pop or the coffee. Yeah, it's the struggle is real. And it could be a caffeine addiction. That's what it could really come down to. I move the comments so they're not covering Jeff's face. All right.
You know, I use coffee as when I get triggered. I go to water and salt first. 8 ounces of water, maybe half a teaspoon or a little more salt. 20 minutes later, if I'm still craving, I go to a black coffee, probably with butter. And it just depends on how much fat I've had that day. I may forego the butter, but I grab a cup of black coffee. And usually by the time I get through all that, 45 minutes has gone by, and I think time is on my side. So I beat the craving, whatever it was, you know? Because, but I'm horrible. I mean, if I'm sitting here watching a show and they say, come on in, have a cup of coffee, I got to have a cup of coffee. And it's all it takes. And 9 times out of 10, I'll get up and make a cup of coffee. And just, you know, 65. I can remember 35 years ago, they put me on a statin. And fortunately, my body rejected it in 20 days. So they said, well, there's another statin. It's a little bit chemically, it's a little bit different. We'll put you on that one. 22 days later, my body rejected that. So I've been allergic to statins. And that was, God just blessed me. I don't have any problem. You know, I have never been on statins really. Two short 20-day periods. I don't have any kidney issues. I don't have any liver issues. I don't have any heart issues. I'm 70. And I'm like, okay. You know, I got a few other issues, and, you know, part of it's genetics, and the other part is the family dinner table. Oh, look at that family. They're all fat, or they're all got diabetes. It's genetic. No, it's the table. And you ever want to see something interesting, go look at George Stella. It was 1998, 97, 98. He was a fat chef with a fat wife and 2 fat boys. And he put his whole family on keto. And he wrote the cookbook. And they lost 400 pounds. Everybody lost 100 pounds. And he published his cookbook, okay? And he's got the before and after picture of the family. And he's just put out a cookbook in the last 5 years. 25 years later, he's still keto. He's maintained his weight. And you can go, if you're ever interested, you can find a lot of his recipes online. Or if you go to Thrift Books, you can get his cookbook for $5. And I give him out as Christmas presents. And like I said, his cheesecake, and a lot of his stuff is very simple. There's not that many carbs. A lot of his meals have very low carb. But they're
for keto, yeah, of course they'd be low carb, yeah.
Yeah, but they're very, very flavorful.
And he's kept it off because he's maintained this as a lifestyle not as a temporary diet. So,
and
keto's a good lifestyle. You know, if you do it right, I think it's just fine. So, all right. Yeah, very good. All right, here's a question. Did Rick ever consider to change his diet to junk food when he found out that carnivore wasn't going to kill him? You were trying to get yourself a heart attack and then it wasn't working.
You ate the wrong stuff, Rick.
Why aren't you eating Moose Tracks ice cream and Snickers bars now? That you, if death was really the goal.
You know what the problem is? All that stuff is so disgusting. Number one, I can't eat it without throwing up. And number two, even if I could get it down, I'm going to have diarrhea that makes Taco Bell look like an amateur. It doesn't agree with me, let me tell you. And I know
Rick,
that a lot of people, A lot of people, they like the little fart gags. You know, you get the little bag, you put in your hand, you squeeze it.
Mhm.
But you do not want to be around me when I've eaten that garbage, because the amount of gas that I can produce is unbelievable. In fact, I could probably hook my stove up to it. There's so much of it, between the pain, the gas, and then also the headaches. Just none of that stuff is edible. There's not one piece of junk food I could eat without getting sick. Even a traditional hamburger will give me diarrhea. Now, how that is, I don't know. But I've eaten a regular hamburger with a bun, with the lettuce and all that, and I get diarrhea in 3 hours. I can eat Rick's Heart Attack Burger, the 2-pound beast with cheese and bacon and buns made from pork rinds and cheese and all that. Massive 8,000 calorie monster. And I'm fine. I eat it. I feel good. No problem. But I eat a regular burger, feel terrible. And the worst thing of all is any kind of chips, especially corn chips. Those things are like poison to me. I get so sick. I actually get headaches if I try to eat them. The smell of them makes me want to throw up. I know people eat Doritos and the little chips. I can't get them down. The only junk food I might be able to eat would be popcorn, but it would have to be popped in lard with butter, and I can only eat 2 handfuls of it before I lose interest. That's the other thing. The non-carnivore foods, the fruits and vegetables, I can only eat a tiny bit because I just don't want to eat anymore. It's like when I was a kid, my mom forced me to eat the vegetables. It was a struggle, and to this day, I can't do it. But on the other hand, you give me a pot full of meat, a big pot roast, a 4-pound pot roast, and I may tell myself, I'm only going to eat a little bit of it. And I keep eating it and eating it. Next thing you know, the pot's empty. And I'm sitting on the couch like, oh, man, I am full. And I'll fall asleep after that. And I won't eat till the next day. If you gave me a pot roast, 4-pound pot roast for lunch, I'm not eating until tomorrow, probably lunch, because I'm going to be so full. But that's why I can't do the junk food.
Well, you know the problem. I'll tell you why you get diarrhea. It's because the stuff is rancid. And our grain, when you grind grain, that's when you release the oil. So if you grind whole grain, you're going to have a flour that's going to go bad quickly. Corn's the worst thing there is. Ground cornmeal, you go to the store and buy a package of that stuff, take a pinch, put it between your cheek and gum, you'll taste the bitterness in less than 5 minutes. It's rancid. All the oils on the shelf at the grocery store, this stuff is rancid. You could taste it. I don't know if people know what rancid is, but go buy some olive oil at the grocery store and put a little on your tongue. That's rancid. It's all rancid. I can't find a non-rancid olive oil in the store. It doesn't exist in the grocery store.
When I go to somebody else's house and they cook with seed oils, it smells like paint. To me, it smells like paint because it's oxidized. And I can taste it, and it does not agree with me. And even when I've had food that was cooked, like regular steak, and I found out later they put vegetable oil in the pan, the steak tasted fine. I couldn't taste it. I was fine. 3 hours later, I was sitting here on the couch. I was on the internet, and my digestive system was acting funny. It's like, what is going on? I feel like I have to go to the bathroom. And then I have to run because once it kicks in, I got 3 minutes. And if I don't get there in time, I'm going to have a massive accident. And I get on the toilet and it's like, boom, what in the world happened? So I'm thinking about it. All I ate was steak. I had steak. I had my regular, steak and eggs. I had my regular lunch and I ate dinner with my friends and we had steak. Thinking, how could I get diarrhea from steak? And then I thought, wait a minute. They cooked it in the kitchen. So I asked the wife, how'd you cook the steak? I cooked it in the pan. Okay. Did you add anything in there? Yeah, I put oil in the pan so it wouldn't stick. I'm like, oh, I can't believe it. And that's from a steak. You would think that it wouldn't make a difference, but it made a big difference.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Your body is so pure. Your body is so clean and so pure, and a lot of us have noticed that when our bodies got cleaned up, little things that didn't bother us in the past affect us now. But what's really sad as you mentioned how you eat this and you have this reaction, and you end up, having to run to the John. There's people that live their lives like that every single day, and they don't know that there's anything wrong with them. They think this is just how life is.
What's interesting is you bring up the seed oils, and like when I go out, I never ask, what is my steak cooked in? And I honestly kind of don't care. I figure I avoid seed oils so much that I'm not worried about the occasional, like if I go to Carrabba's and have a steak, if they cooked it on if they use seed oil on the griddle when they cook the steak, I just don't care. And I know Texas Roadhouse does. They actually use like rice oil on their grill. They cook it on their grill first, and then they throw it on the open flame, try and burn most of that off and give it its grill marks and everything. And my first year, again, when I was strict my first year, I'd tell them, like, you got to throw it straight on the flame. Don't use that rice oil. I'm allergic. I'm going to drop dead in your dining room. I used to say all that kind of stuff. And I've got lazy after my first year. So, and it doesn't affect me. However, so I have noticed that salad, if I go somewhere, if I say I go to Applebee's or Longhorn or Texas Roadhouse or something, and I get a salad and I'll get some ranch dressing, and I know that's soybean oil. If I have a salad when I eat out, an hour later, I'm like you. I am making a mad dash to the toilet, and it's like turning on the tub. Okay,
you're not used to that stuff.
Just tub spout,
Yeah.
And I started telling my wife, I was like, I think I'm gonna have to stop doing salads. Now you have me wondering if it's the salad or if it's the ranch dressing, because a little bit cooking my steak in it, I think that's trivial, but you pour a lot on that salad to make that salad taste halfway decent. I'm wondering if it's the soybean oil in the salad dressing that's causing that reaction. I think the next time I go and try this, I might just have a little vinegar, no oil, because you can't trust their oils anymore. Have a little vinegar, or just eat it without any dressing and see if I get the same reaction. I think I'm gonna
make your own dressing.
I'm gonna perform my own experiment and see if it's actually the soybean oil based ranch dressing that I have maybe once a month, maybe twice a month tops, because every time I do.
Why not just bacon grease?
Put yogurt on your salad.
Restaurant, they're not gonna. Can you put bacon grease on my salad? They're gonna look. They're like, say what?
Well, bring it with you.
Okay, well,
look what you're doing to yourself. You normally don't eat salad, okay? You normally don't eat salad, and then you're eating
not
this
routinely,
right? So your body's I'd send you to the bathroom too if I was your body.
Mm-hmm.
And and you're doing a double whammy. There's probably not enough soybean oil in there to really damage you, but it may not take much. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can share with my experience with most recently both eating out and doing some things creative with recipes, because we had a big family dinner. So we had a family dinner the other day, and I did roasted 2 leg of lambs and roasted a brisket. The lambs we had raised, and the brisket was raised 10 miles from my house. So really nice fresh meat. My husband and I are both carnivore, but none of our children or grandchildren are. So I kind of want to split the difference in a holiday meal. We had a Christmas tree decorating party at our house with everybody over. So for the lamb, I did the traditional stuff with slices of garlic. And then I put chopped organic rosemary and thyme, salt and white pepper into a butter paste and put that on top of the lamb and roasted it. The brisket, I used a homemade organic kind of Southwestern seasoning and brushed it with butter because it was a lean brisket and I wanted to seal the meat so it wouldn't dry out. Both of them came out fabulously. really tender, really flavorful. And neither my husband nor I had reactions to using herbs that way. On the other hand, like many of you, if I go to a breakfast place or a steakhouse and I don't ask them to hold the oils, a breakfast place, I'll ask them to cook my eggs in butter. And I tell them it's an allergy. And I've had really good luck eating out at breakfast places that way. And now even Longhorn Steakhouse, I'll ask for no seasoning, no oil, and I can eat their foods without any problem. But just like the rest of you guys, you add those things, and it really messes with the plumbing. So
Yeah.
I think it's more the seed oils and the artificial flavors than I'm getting with butter and herbs.
We have a Chinese restaurant around the corner here, and you can select your oil or your whatever you want your food cooked in. And they have, I guess, they're big, like big 12-inch frying pan. Doesn't use a wok, use a frying pan.
Mm.
And they're constantly washing the frying pans. And so you get clean pan, whatever oil you want, and all his dishes are $2 to $3 more than any other Chinese restaurant. But people come in there just for that reason. I want the avocado oil or whatever, and he's found a niche.
Yep. Yeah, I keep avocado oil and coconut oil around for my adult children who feel like they really need oil in their lives. So.
All right. Very good. Lexus Jones asks, do you guys have any tips for staying on carnivore through the holidays? I'm sure you've talked about it before, but I think I missed it. So yes, we did talk about it. I'm going to share a screen here. And so if you want a rather thorough discussion, it's in this video here. The third one there with the turkey on it. Carnivore versus the holidays. Surviving the holidays on a carnivore diet. And we're probably going to cover this subject again next week. So, because people are going to be encountering this situation again in about another week and a half, as most people around the world get together with their families for the Christmas holiday. But some of the things that I remember we talked about were. Some of the things I remember we talked about were you can eat ahead so that when you show up on location, you are not starving and you will lack the urge to reach for whatever happens to be there, the majority of which is probably no good for you. 2 would be selective. And so look for things that are good for you. Obviously, all the meats are fair game. If you're going to cheat with keto. Just look for things that might be, low carb that are keto friendly. And or if you don't want to do that, another thing you can do is maybe bring something with you. So you can bring food with you. And if you don't want to draw attention to yourself, bring something that doesn't look like it's your own personal meal, but something that looks like it's something for everybody, like a meat and cheese tray that everybody can pick from. And then that way you can pick from it too and stay on plan. And then don't draw attention to yourself. So don't be like, I don't eat that. I don't eat that. I'm on a carnivore diet, just zip, would you like some of these sweet potatoes with the marshmallows melted all over them? No, thank you. I'm full. So don't quack, but don't draw attention to yourself. Don't, I wouldn't even say I'm allergic. I wouldn't say I'm on a diet. I'd just be like, nope, I'm satisfied, not in the mood, and and then change the subject, so that way you don't create an atmosphere where they want to try and come at you with now peer pressure, so that would be my
peer pressure.
That would be my suggestion. So if someone's like, I don't know, like if you got like this, that I think those are the tips. If you stick to those, I think you'll do well. So Jeff, can you think of any other ones we talked
Yeah,
about?
It's
I
always
always go back to the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Going with the right mindset. You are a carnivore. Carnivores don't eat that junk. You don't eat all that sugar. They don't eat those pies, cakes, and cookies. You're a carnivore. You eat meat. Get that in your brain. Solidify that in your life. This is who and what you are. So get the right mindset going into it. And then, of course, everything that Bob said. Go ahead and eat a good meal before you go. Take your own food with you. You know, these are the things that'll help get you through it. And if you need a little extra incentive, immerse yourself into the carnivore community. Watch videos. Get inspiration from what other people have done in their lives with this way of eating. You know, you've already come a long ways. Don't let your brain fool you into thinking you can handle this other stuff when it can't. You know, you're an addict. You can't take that stuff. You've got to stay away from it. You know, you can't moderate it.
Yep.
You've got to look at it in that train of thought. So you're a carnivore, act like a carnivore, be a carnivore.
Once a carnivore, always a carnivore.
That's right. Carnivore for life.
You know, I'm leaving next Monday morning. I'm driving down to my grandchildren. I'll be there till the day after Christmas. One of those 5-pound rib roasts is going with me. Crock-pot's going with me. Bone broth's going with me. I got 2 pounds of butter going with me. I got 4 pounds of bacon going with me. I got 4 dozen eggs going with me. My egg cooker is going with me for deviled eggs. And I've got 3 ribeye steaks that are frozen that are going with me. And I've got a chocolate cheesecake and a lemon cheesecake, full-size cheesecakes in the freezer. They're going with me. And the good thing is, well, my daughter's her husband's family is all going to be there, all 30 of them, okay? And they're all sugarholics, but I got my coffee, I got my cheesecake, I got to go too, you know, I'll be fine.
All right. You got a plan. That's awesome.
Because just remember, you work hard to get to where you got to. And there ain't no reason screwing it up. Okay? It just ain't worth it. At least I work awful. It's very difficult to do what I do. Very, extremely difficult for me to do it. It gets easier as you go on, yes, but it still is extremely difficult at times. And because I'm a bad carb addict. And I'd be damned if I'm going to give up very much at all. I ain't even going to have one cookie.
Nothing tastes as good as how I feel.
I agree.
Nothing tastes as good as your imagination either. That memory in your brain of what it tasted like, you can't never match it.
That's the
I can't.
No cookie tastes as good as a steak.
No, it don't.
That is true.
If people say to me, you know, try to convince me that I should, for the holidays or for this party or whatever, eat something that I know won't agree with me, I say, I'll just comment that that'll make me feel really rough, and I'm the one that has to live with me. And I don't want to live that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. That's good. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, if you feel crummy, you're the first one that has to live with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But like Jeff said, you gotta kind of stick to your guns, you know. You kind of gotta remember who the hell you are and what you are, you know. And that's a problem. I won't go there politically, but a lot of people don't even know who they are, so they don't even know what they stand for nothing because they don't know what they stand for. And they don't have a clue. Enough said.
Well, speaking of politics, Jemet says, "Good evening. Was watching Rob Reiner and his wife's death. So sad, breaks my heart and my prayers." Yeah, I read that too today. I guess it happened yesterday. Apparently, him and his wife were stabbed to death by their son or his son. I don't know if it was her son too. And yeah, that's tragic. Awful. Shouldn't have happened. And yeah, I don't know much about Rob Reiner. I read a little bit about him. I guess he was in or directed The Princess Bride. I know that because that movie was awesome. And I know he's been like a political commentator on the left. That's probably why I don't know him very much. So I don't know, you know. And but either way, it's horrific news. You know, no one should be stabbed to death.
The meathead.
I can't figure out how a child could do that to their parent either. That just makes me rattles my brain. That kid obviously has some issues, because I've seen some footage of him and he seems like a jolly old guy, you know.
Drugs and mental conditions. Yeah, Rob, son of Carl Reiner, in case you didn't know, who was a great comedian in his day. But Rob was a lot of fun to watch as meathead. I still watch old reruns of All in the Family. He was a hoot. He was a great director. Yeah, I didn't square up with him when it come to his politics, you know, but at the same time, he was still a pretty decent guy. He was Jewish, but at the same time, he believed in Christ. He believed in Jesus. He may not have followed him, but he believed in him. He believed who he said he was. There was a lot of good things about Rob. There's a lot of things that we don't agree with on him, but nobody deserves to die like that.
Jeanette says, sorry, we'll stay on topic. It was just a sad day.
It was.
Thank you. At least the panel makes me smile. So no, that's okay. We exhausted our topic a while ago. So you know how we are. we have a topic that we start at 8. We actually address the topic around 8:45, and it's about 5 to 15 minutes worth of discussion, and then we're back to talking about whatever again. So
that topic was a short one, anyways.
It was a short one, and you can bring up. It's okay bringing up current events. So that's fine. Speaking of being on topic, real quick, Aaron, Manic Gaming 6949 says, who are taking part of the trial? So that would be information that Mikhaila Peterson and Dr. Rob Abbott would have. They're looking for 160 volunteers, preferably about 80 with rheumatoid arthritis and another 80 with irritable bowel disease. None of them on a lion or carnivore or keto diet yet. These are looking for individuals who are just eating a standard American diet or no specific diet whatsoever. And they're gonna take these individuals with these conditions, put them on a lion diet or a keto diet, and chart their progress for 6 months or a year or something like that. So they're looking for funding, and they're looking for 160 applicants who are interested in taking part of the study. So I think it's a very cool study. That's why I'm just doing my part in broadcasting it too. So she published it today, and so we're talking about it tonight because I saw it when I came home from work, and I thought, man, this is a great topic. So, Aaron, I'm sorry I cut you off.
I was just going to say I didn't even get here when you were talking about it, so I'm grateful for the rehash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I first saw the topic before I came on tonight, I thought, oh, that's really interesting. Maybe I should try lying with them. But after hearing you say what they're specifying, I don't qualify. I'm too healthy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. None of us here would qualify because we've been doing a keto or carnivore diet for some time. So they're looking for individuals who have these conditions and have not tried a keto or carnivore diet. And they're going to put them on this diet, and you're going to get all kinds of blood tests, monitoring, and thorough exams, and your progress will be charted, noted, and you can be part of the results, after the study's over. So just some details. They're looking for funding. So there's a GoFundMe for the funding. Whatever they fail, their goal, I think, is $450,000.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and so if they don't meet the goal, Mikhaila, Jordan, and the rest others in the Peterson family are going to finance the remainder of it, and because they want to make sure this study happens regardless. So they're just looking for some support. To participate in the study, you have to have RA or IBD and never done a carnivore or keto diet, or not on one currently or for some time probably. I'm sure they'll question everybody who applies. I believe it will cost $200 to be a participant in the study. You will get 100 of that back if you stick to it through the entire study. So those are some of the details I remember reading or hearing when I watched the video earlier. So
the thing that's
exciting.
interesting, I think, Bob, is that taking people that have never done carnivore and keto that are not fat adapted, that are going to have to go through. I wonder how the process is going to play into the research.
I think there's I think the first 30 days they're going to ease them into it, because we know going cold turkey keto, cold turkey carnivore can be tricky.
Yeah, I did it.
And then that's when
Foolishly.
So after that 30 days of transitioning, then the official start is after that 30 days of transitioning. I remember her saying that in the video. So that's in the video. So
what'll be really interesting is if, let's just say they plan to go 6 months minimum, right? And they get to the 3 month mark or 4 month mark, and 95% of the people say, I feel fine. I'm cured. Right. I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That could happen.
That's about when you really start feeling super good, when you know, when it all comes together.
So it is 6 months.
My first 30 days was like, wow.
So I'm looking at it here. So
I'm seeing something here, you know.
Yeah.
60 days, it was like, hey, there's some things going on. I'm healing. 90 days, I was doing so great that I said, I will do this for the rest of my life.
You know, in the mid 80s, the diabetes world did a very intense study on controlling blood sugar very strictly. Okay. And the results were so amazing, they canceled this. They shut the study down. They said, this is too good. We got to take this to the people. The results are just too good. You know, controlling blood sugar really makes a difference in your quality of life. And that's when I was first diagnosed. You know, and I said, oh, anything before 1987, ignore the literature. It's outdated. But unfortunately, I never found a carnivore book when I was diagnosed. But here we go.
There's a few of them out there too. There's a couple books back in the 1800s that are pretty cool to read. So regarding the study, the title of the study is going to be Effectiveness and Efficacy of a Ketogenic or Carnivore Lion Diet for Quality of Life and Symptom Burden in Individuals with Symptomatic Inflammatory Bowel Disease or Rheumatoid Arthritis, a Randomized Clinical Trial. It's a long title. And the purpose is to evaluate whether a ketogenic or lion diet improves health-related quality of life and reduces symptom burden in people with symptomatic RA or IBD. The hypothesis being tested is that these diets will lead to measurable improvements compared to standard diets. They're looking for 160 participants, 80 of each, diagnosed with each, and that's formally diagnosed. So you have to, it actually has to be on your medical record that you have these. And you have to be able to provide documentation.
So that means only 40 will actually go carnivore, and the other 40 will continue eating as they are, right?
No, all 160 are going to go.
That's not randomized. You got no control.
Oh, maybe not then. I don't know. I don't know the details. I'm just reading.
I don't know either. I'm just saying. Yeah. When they did that fiber study down there in Australia, they did. They had people who had no fiber all the way up to people who were eating their regular fiber load.
I personally don't see the difference. You've got the entire world eating a standard diet, and you take 160 individuals and put them on this diet. If their symptoms improve,
I agree with you. I agree with that philosophy too. Yeah, you're. I don't know.
There can never be ethically or morally a true randomized control study on this, on diet and eating. You can't do it.
It is 6 months of active involvement per participant. And it's a randomized controlled trial with 3 arms. Okay, so here we go. There's a control group. The control group continues a regular diet for the first 3 months, then offered guided switch to a ketogenic or Lion diet. And then there's the intervention group. That's randomized to either ketogenic or strict Lion for 3 to 6 months.
Oh, okay.
So there's a control group. So you're right.
Yeah, that's very good.
Monitoring will include blood tests, stool samples, at-home ketone glucose monitoring via blood pricks, blood body composition scale, questionnaires, and access to health professionals. And of course, there's going to be a support group. Yep. So
I just hope, I really do. I hope the results are stunning.
Yeah. It's $200 deposit to participate. You'll get $100 back. And as part of the study, you will get over $1,700 worth of labs, devices, and professional access. So you'll get the scales, you'll get everything that you'll need, the monitors and everything that comes to the participants. So that's the deets, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, it'll be exciting to have a randomized controlled trial tailored towards a carnivore centric diet on record. I think that'll be cool.
I'm wondering, you got to remember all these people, even though they got that diagnosis that's required, they probably have other issues too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be an interesting sideline to the whole thing, is the blood pressure dropping, is a whatever, you know what I mean?
Freethinker says, Bob just skipped the salad. That might be what we get to. So I skipped the salad for over a year, and then this the last couple times I've gone out, I'm like, all right, I'll take the salad. And I'm noticing a pattern. If I eat a salad, to the bathroom I go. So it might be going back to 0 salads. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm with Freethinker on this one.
Yeah. So Carnivore Jerry Yum, I love talking about eating a bull food glyphosate. So remember, carnivore diet is an elimination diet, and a lot of people like to occasionally reintroduce something to see how they react to it. So I've chosen to reintroduce an occasional salad. My results so far have been negative. All I'm doing is sharing that bit of information with my viewers. So salads may be a no-go for me. What was interesting was Rick mentioned that seed oils cause him to run to the bathroom in the same fashion. So that got me thinking, is it really the salad, or is it the seed oil that makes up 99% of that ranch dressing? And so I thought, well, there's something that I could out of curiosity, I could test for my own in-one experiment. I could try eating the salad without the ranch dressing. And if I don't have to run to the pot and empty 90 minutes later, then I have my answer. It actually wasn't the salad, it was the ranch dressing. I didn't even think of that until Rick mentioned that happens to him just for even having a steak that comes in contact with seed oil on a grill. So I'm like, well, there's food for thought. So that's why this discussion about the salad came up. So I'm of one of curious mind, want to test this theory and see what is the issue. Is my issue with lettuce? Probably not. That's just crunchy water. Is my issue with the soybean oil and the ranch dressing? That actually makes a load of sense that I didn't put together, because I was just like, oh, salad makes me have diarrhea. Could not be the case at all, because I can eat broccoli. Nobody. I can
give you additional. I got additional information. When I was a kid and when I went plant-based, I'd eat a lot of salads. I found that salad dressing, not only does it taste bad to me, but it gives me diarrhea. Another thing that gives me violent diarrhea is mayonnaise. So if anything has mayonnaise in it, it gives me
That's
diarrhea.
soybean oil. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the worst thing, the worst salad of all, it'll make me vomit just smelling it, is Waldorf salad. My mom used to make that. It makes me so sick, I can't even be in the room with it. I get dizzy and vomit. I don't know what's in that, but it is the most vile, disgusting
My
food
mom
I've
used
ever
to
seen.
make that all the time. You know, any holiday or anything like that, any special occasion, there was Waldorf salad. I couldn't stand that stuff.
What is in it that makes it so nasty?
I don't know.
Oh,
What I think it's apples and walnuts and mayonnaise.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
it's probably
think.
the mayonnaise.
And marshmallows too, don't they?
I
Or am I
guess
thinking-
maybe.
I don't know. I
thought
haven't
mayonnaise
eaten
was
anything
basically
like
soybean oil and eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm allergic to apples also. That'll make me get sinus issues, sneeze, and sometimes vomit. I'm allergic to apples.
Well, maybe that's your Waldorf problem is the apples.
I can't eat apples. There are fruits
Yeah.
that I can eat. I can eat oranges and lemons from my yard. I can eat coconuts. I can eat plantains. I can eat those little cherries that grow in the bushes, loquats. I can't eat avocados. I throw them up. And I can't eat apples, pears, peaches, any of that stuff. I can't even eat the watermelons they sell. They give me violent diarrhea. Now, when I grew my own watermelons, I could eat them. And I don't know why. You'd sit there spitting out tons of seeds, but they don't give me diarrhea. It's just a lot of the produce from the store I cannot eat because it affects me. Even the oranges from the store don't agree with me.
The food chain is not as pure as you would think it might be. And a lot of the E. coli that we're exposed to, we're used to it. It doesn't bother us. When you go to Mexico or you go to a foreign country, they have a different E. coli strain. That's what causes your digestive problem when you go to a foreign country. If you could somehow adapt to it before you went, you wouldn't have that issue. So you do not adapt well to the commercial food chain and what E. coli is in that food chain. You know, I've worked in food processing plants and commissaries and food service places, and I've seen what really goes on. And I don't want to eat that food. I know where those hands have gone. I know who's washed their hands that hasn't washed their hands.
Mhm.
And you're at risk. That's all I can tell you. And I'm surprised more people in the United States don't get food poisoning. It really surprises me.
I'm such a religious hand washer that when I'm ever in a public restroom and I saw someone come out of a stall or whatever and they just walk right out without washing their hands, it drives me crazy. And it is so common, it's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny.
so
I've
common.
eaten meat out of the dumpster and I've eaten roadkill and I never got sick.
It's because you wash your hands.
It's because it's what you're used to, Rick, because you do it all the time. Your body's adapted to it. That's my theory. I'm sorry.
No, I
I'm
think
not-
there's a
I'm
lot
not
of truth to that,
criticizing
too.
you.
It's like,
But
you
I
look at
mean,
all these animals that drink water out in the wild, but if we drink the water out of the river, we might get sick because we're not used to it. I think if we had
My
been doing it
dog
all
Yeah,
our lives,
me-
we'd be fine.
Brown.
So, what's that?
I mean, my dad had a trout stream going through his farm. I never drank from it because the neighbor upstream was a dairy farmer and he had 90 cows peeing and pooping in the water.
Mm-hmm.
The trout were great. The trout never bothered us. We ate it, and I never drank from that creek. Not
Yep,
without
cowboy wisdom. Never drink downstream of the herd.
Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, what we went through when the cows came into the 90 cows would come into the barn from the pasture. They all got washed as much as they needed to be washed with the spray hose. And then once they got to their stanchion, and locked in, we sprayed their udder with a mild solution of Clorox and water. Then we wiped the teats. Then we had a stronger concentration of Clorox and water. We dipped each teat into a 16-ounce cup of that solution. Then we hook up the milking machine. Never failed a whatever test the dairies run on the milk. Never failed the test. But there's a lot of stuff out there to worry about, you know.
Lexus says, and we're going back to the holiday discussion here. My family knows why I eat this way and are very supportive, but I wasn't successful on Thanksgiving and at a family member's birthday party a couple weeks ago. Yes, mindset and preparation is a must. So yes, and
Yep.
I would say, you know, just don't look back on the birthday situation, the Thanksgiving situation, and beat yourself up over it.
No, forget the mistake. Remember the lesson. You know, win a victory sometime during this holiday. The first challenge you come across, win that victory. And it'll make you stronger for the next challenge. But win that first victory, win that first battle. No matter what it takes, win it. And see if you aren't better prepared and stronger for the next challenge that comes up your way.
And you mentioned Bible study. So Proverbs 24:16 says, "For the righteous falls 7 times and rises again." And so the lesson there is, you know, we're not perfect. And so if you fall, you get back up and you keep moving forward. What you don't do is you don't fall and then be like, look, I've fallen and I can't get up. I'm stuck here. I might as well just lay down. I'll never leave this spot ever again. You know, we wouldn't do that, you know. So you know, just like in real life, if you fall, you trip, you get down, what's the first thing you do? You spring back up on your feet, you know, brush some dust off you if you got some off you, and you keep moving forward. You got to do the same thing when it comes to, you know, in that application, we're talking about sinning. In the diet application, we're also talking about sinning against your dietary, you know, goals. So it's the same thing. You know, don't beat yourself up.
No.
Don't get depressed about it. You know, it's not the end of the world if you had a cupcake or something. You know, just, you know, what you do is you get right back up the same day. You know, you had that at 1 o'clock. That's fine. Dinner is 100% carnivore. You don't tell yourself, I'll start again tomorrow. I'll start again Monday. I'll start again January 1st. You know, you don't say that. You start again right now. You get up right now. You know, you're not going to fall and be like, I'm just going to sit here until January 1st before I get up, you know?
No.
Yeah, don't do that.
Tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow never comes, and there's nobody coming to save you. Well, except for Jesus in your spiritual walk, but there's nobody, you know, on this earth, you know, with your carnivore diet, nobody's coming to save you. And I'm going to tell you right now, Alexis, I fail every day as a Christian. My Christian walk is a failure every single day. But every single day, I pick myself up. I keep on trying. I keep trying to follow Jesus. You know, I still try to work it out, but I don't give up.
Very good. So yeah, so this holiday season coming up, you know, plan ahead, you know, go in there full of resolve. You know, if peer pressure or something gets to you, you know, again, it's just a moment in time. And it's easy to correct course. So
if you need to overeat on carnivore to get through the holidays, that's okay too.
Yes.
Because some of the times for me in the beginning, I was afraid that I wouldn't get enough because of being so different or standing out or whatever. So I did overeat in preparation for things and then find that my loved ones actually were willing to accommodate more than I thought they would. And the kind of good outcome of overeating on the carnivore, for in my experience, is sound sleep and more healing. Not your typical overeating on holiday American diet or other kind of diet hangover. There's no, you don't have a sugar hangover. You don't have a alcohol hangover, a carbohydrate hangover. You don't have bloating. You don't have mood swings. You just ate more, and you probably rest and heal better. So, thinking you may not want to overdo and not prepare enough. I advise people to think again, over prepare if you need to, and then just enjoy the company of the people you have the privilege to be with. Because really, all these gatherings are about the relationships and the love and the joy that you're sharing there.
Absolutely.
Very good. Words of wisdom. Jabet asks, how is Jordan Peterson's health? His daughter asked us to pray for him. I don't know. So I don't know what his current status is. I'm thinking
I hadn't heard nothing about him.
Yeah, I think that was a month or two ago, but I don't know.
She did another short follow-up today that for some reason came upon my feed, where she said he is no longer in an extremely dangerous state, but he is still in a cautious healing state. And she wasn't willing to go into detail, and thanked listeners and viewers for all their prayers and asked for the continuance of that.
All right. So there you go.
That was the takeaway.
Very good. Thank you for that, Aaron. Freethinker asks, does Aaron have a channel?
Nah, not yet.
Nah. Okay. All right.
So I'm kind of an accidental carnivore of 3 years who came onto it with multiple chronic health issues that carnivore will not heal. For example, right now, as I'm meeting with all you guys, I'm infusing immunoglobulin into my body. That I have to do that weekly because I have a genetic disorder where I don't make antibodies. I come and go from carnivore like I am tonight, and have been into Bob's group a couple times and a couple other chats and interviews. But my primary love is with the people most intimately around me, my children, my grandchildren, my friends. And because of my multiple health issues, I put a lot of effort into regular health maintenance. So I do regular Pilates and weightlifting. In the summer, I paddleboard a lot. In the winter, I cross country and downhill ski a lot, and spend a lot of time being very, very grateful for my environment. So I'm not putting the same amount of time into online presence that some of the rest of you are. And we're all different, and that's okay. So, yeah, so I don't have a channel, and I don't have a link, and maybe someday I will, but I wouldn't count on it. I count on me being a random visitor that is graced by the presence of all you guys.
That's fine. We're glad to have you here. Thank you for joining us on our live tonight. Jamet asks, what is a Waldorf salad?
I looked it up.
Google it.
Apples, celery, grapes, mayonnaise and/or yogurt, black pepper, lemon juice, and maybe a little bit of honey. And walnuts.
Okay.
Walnuts.
All right. Interesting. So it's a fruits and nuts and honey. All right. Mannix Gaming, maybe because seed oil is just pure toxin. That could be. I will report back. I will report back the next time we go out to eat and I have a salad without any ranch dressing. I will let you know what the results were. All right. Let's see here. Why eat salad anyway? Meat tastes better with butter.
There's
So-
some seed oil for you right there. Put that on your salad.
Gross.
Yeah.
Good
What it
illustration.
is, it's just machine oil.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Jamette, so I've answered this question a bunch, and I'll do it again. So I was super strict my first year. I'm 2.5 years into it. So I will occasionally, emphasis on occasionally, we're talking probably once or twice a month, might have something that is plant matter. As long as it's not grains and not refined sugar. Those are my rules. And so sometimes we go out to eat at a restaurant, and I used to be that guy that was trying to negotiate with the staff, you know, well, I don't want the salad or the bread and all and the side veggie. Can I get more meat instead? And that's usually frowned upon. So I actually didn't go out to eat for the longest time. I just cooked at home, or I'd go out to eat and I'd sit there and not eat anything. So lately I'm like, okay, you know, the family wants to go out to eat and they're willing to go somewhere that I can eat and compromise on my dietary standards. I don't mind. I'm not anti-plant, and I don't mind cheating with keto on occasion. I'll even have a piece of fruit on occasion. And when I say on occasion, rare. I am 97% carnivore. So at the restaurant lately, I've tried, okay, I'll have a salad with ranch. Okay. I used to love salads with ranch. When it comes to taste, I still do. All right. But what I've noticed is the last 2 or 3 times that I've done this, had a salad going out over the course of the last maybe 2 months. All right. I come home and within 90 minutes, I got to run to the bathroom. So, and I even told my wife the last time we went out to eat, I'm like, I don't think I can do salads anymore. And Rick's comment tonight, though, made me think it might not be the salad, because I can't think of a logical reason why it would be, but it might be that ranch dressing. He has the same experience when he has a steak cooked in seed oils. Ranch dressing is almost pure seed oil, just like the can of garage stuff that Jeff just held up. So maybe if I'm going to test it because I'm curious mind, scientific mind. Next time I'm in this position, I'm going to get the salad. I'm going to eat it without dressing and see if I still go to the bathroom, because I am curious if it's the seed oils or if it's salad, because I've stated now that up until this point, you've heard me say a number of times on a number of these lives that if I go out to eat, I don't ask what they cook my steak in. I don't care. I've eliminated seed oils from my life. That I think the occasional steak cooked in a seed oil, so what? You know, it's not going to kill me, you know, especially when I ate seed oils as 70% of my diet every day for decades. Okay. But maybe it's the seed oil. Like Rick's experience keeps making me think, wow, I wonder if it's the ranch dressing. And if I find that out to be true, then I'm probably going to start going back to the old habit of telling places, you can't cook my steak in seed oil. I'm allergic to it. I'll have a violent reaction to it. Whereas before I would just say that for the heck of it because I didn't want seed oils. Now, if it's really the seed oils that's making me run to the bathroom, I can say that because it's true. I can say with a clean conscience, I would not be lying if I say I can't have seed oils. I'm allergic to it. It sends me straight to the bathroom. How do I test it? How do I test it? The next time I go to like an Applebee's and have a steak and a salad or Longhorn Steakhouse or Texas Roadhouse or something, I'm going to make sure they cook my steak without seed oil, and I'm going to have a salad with no ranch dressing. And if I'm fine with no diarrhea, guess what I've learned? It's the damn seed oil. I think
On the other hand,
I think that's a great thing to do. So
on the other hand, Bob,
yeah.
is the prepared raw salad blends that are sold in restaurants are treated.
Are they what?
They're likely treated greens. So you're not getting at a restaurant, you're not getting organic greens. You're getting factory prepared bulk greens that come with things on them to keep them fresher. So could it be, you may also be reacting to that. So then your next experiment would be to grow your own hydroponic organic greens and compare it to the restaurant greens.
Right. That would be a good idea. Yes.
But, you know, we can go all day.
Well, if I have a salad without ranch,
And
I just
you're
eat it dry and boring, and I still have diarrhea, then I'm not ordering a salad ever again. Case closed. That's the point that I'm getting at. I've had salad a few times, and every time now I've ran to the bathroom, and I'm thinking it's the salad until tonight. And then Rick made me think maybe it's not the salad, maybe it's the ranch. So I'm going to determine, is it the salad or is it the ranch? So
Well, you know, you are correct, because the ingredients on any item in the store, the most voluminous items, you know, comes first, then it goes in progression. And it's real easy to see if there's soybean oil, because it's usually in the first one or two ingredients. It's right up there, you know.
oh yeah, with ranch, soybean oil is number one.
Yeah, it's right up there. So, but she makes a good point. You know, there's
Well, yeah.
We
Well, like
used to
Rick
make-
also said that he can't eat apples or peaches or oranges from the store, but he could grow them in his yard and eat them just fine.
well, this last place I worked,
that falls right in line with what Aaron just said.
we made potato salad, macaroni salad, and coleslaw. And we would, Rubbermaid trash cans are food safe, okay? Everything Rubbermaid makes is food safe. So we bring down 20 trash cans, 30-gallon trash cans on wheels of coleslaw or potato salad, or whatever it was. We take those big scoops and we put them in those 5-pound tubs that are headed for your deli or headed for your picnic. And we had a garden sprayer, and they would never tell us what was inside that garden sprayer. It was controlled by quality assurance, okay? And so we would, you know, get the 10 pounds in or 5 pounds in, whatever the container size was, and then we would wipe the rim real careful, and that garden sprayer, we'd spray that chemical right on the very top. I don't know what it is. They wouldn't tell us what it was, okay? I'm sure it was in the ingredients somehow, buried in the ingredients list somewheres, but so every time you open any of that kind of product, I guess everybody's doing the same kind of thing. It's sprayed with some solution on the very top layer to act as a barrier. And, you know, oh God, I wouldn't eat the stuff. Once you see, you know, it's kind of like hot dogs. Once you see them made, you don't want to ever eat one again. You know, but
I've always been allergic to coleslaw. That stuff gives me diarrhea big time. But as you know, I make something very similar to it that I can eat, and it has no bad effect on me. And that's fermented cabbage. I grow cabbage in my garden all the time. And when we get together, I give them my sauerkraut. I've been able to eat that for my whole life. It doesn't bother me. Explain that.
The coleslaw would have seed oils in it.
It's the fermentation process. So, you know, it was a couple of weeks ago, I had sauerkraut for the first time in nearly 3 years, and it did not bother my gut at all.
See?
And I ate quite a bit of it.
It doesn't have any effect on me. I've eaten it like a salad. It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, it's good for your gut biome.
Cabbage has naturally occurring lactobacillus. So when you ferment the cabbage with salt, it prevents other bacterial growth that's harmful. So just the lactobacillus cultures the cabbage and makes the sauerkraut. So that's the
how I
story
do
of
it.
that one.
That's how I do it. I've always got some fermenting in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sauerkraut, kimchi, it's all good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding is the fermentation process removes any toxins that are in it. So I've been told.
And all the cabbages in my yard are grown without pesticides. I grew the cabbages when I had ducks because ducks love cabbage, and you get these little worms that like to eat the cabbage. And when the ducks see that, they get very excited. So they go in the garden and they grab every one of them. But now that I have no ducks, I just put a screen over it to keep the bugs out. And then they keep growing. I have to keep harvesting them, and I'm not going to throw them away. So I shred them up and I turn them into sauerkraut. I got friends that love the stuff.
Phelps, New York, upstate New York. Phelps, New York is the sauerkraut capital of America.
Really?
Yep. Huh. Acres and acres and acres of cabbage. And when I was 12, we used to walk the fields. Got paid $1 an hour. Pull the big weeds up in between the cabbages.
What do they do about the bugs?
Spray.
Oh.
Now, I used to soak my cabbage heads in a bowl of salt water to kill the worms and make them, they'd float out of the cabbage.
Yep. Yeah, same way with broccoli. You do the same thing. Yep.
Yeah.
I grew, I had my broccoli planted on 9-inch centers in a 5-foot by 30-foot bed. I grew that much. And I had trash cans full of broccoli, cold water, salt, and scraped all the worms off. Processed it, put it all in the freezer. And we had broccoli every day for, I don't know, 3 months or so, 4 months. I was a big gardener, but now the only reason I would grow anything is if I had ducks or chickens or a pig or a lamb, to feed it to.
They love it. They love it.
Yeah. And I think it was chickens love watermelon, I think.
So do ducks.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Chickens will eat about anything.
Yeah.
So
they're as good as a pig when it comes to composting. Yeah, they're very and yeah.
Well, I know I had to keep them out of my garden because they'd tear up my tomatoes something fierce.
Well, the secret, there's a gardener fellow I knew, and at night when he brought his chickens into their housing to roost, he would lead them through the garden. And of course, they're in a hurry it's getting dark, so they're in a hurry to get in to their shelter. So they would only spend enough time in the garden to grab a bug here and there and not touch the fruit or the greens or whatever normally, but yeah.
Well,
those are trained chickens.
They always go for the bugs first.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why they tear up the tomatoes, I think, is they're not after the tomatoes so much as they are after the bugs, and the bugs are on the tomatoes, so they're pecking out the tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one thing when I became a carnivore that was really, it wasn't giving up the food so much that I thought that I liked. It was giving up my garden because I didn't see the point of continuing to grow a garden when I wasn't going to be eating it. And that was a hard decision for me to make because I enjoyed it. It was one of the things I dreamed about in retirement is that I wanted to grow a nice garden when I retired, and tend to garden. And to give it up, that was kind of hurtful to me.
Well, I switched to flowers, Jeff. I have roses and black-eyed Susans and coneflowers, butterfly bushes, lilacs, lupines, dahlias. I filled my whole front yard with landscaped the whole front yard, no grass, all flowers.
I have no grass either.
I tried to garden when I first moved into this place in 2010. There was a big compost pile in the middle of the yard. We got rid of that, tilled the land, turned it into a garden. and rabbits and deer obliterated everything. And so the next
They won't
year,
do that.
so the next year we tried every trick we could. We put a fence around it. We were carving ivory soap, dropping it in the yard, hot pepper, deer repellent. Then these things would still manage to get their way in there and devour everything, almost everything.
I had
By the
deer in my
time-
garden. They wouldn't last long.
Yeah, by the time you could harvest anything, spent so much money on all this defense for the pests that I was like, you know what? It would have been cheaper for me to just run down to the store and buy my zucchini than it was trying to grow the stupid stuff. So
They
then
have good fencing.
So then after that, we just, instead of having a garden, we put in a pool. So we enjoy the pool a lot better. So yeah, no gardening for me. It just wasn't worth it. So
There's no deer around here.
yeah, I can't legally shoot the deer in the backyard. You can't hunt unless you have 25 acres. So, and I don't think there's any property with 25 acres in the community anymore. Here's a question for Rick from Jamette. Would Rick eat bugs?
I have eaten bugs
Hey,
before.
everybody.
Same here.
See you, Paul. Have a
Take
good
care.
night. Thanks for joining us.
It was a pleasure to be with you all. Thank you very much.
Good
We'll
night,
see you on
Paul.
forums,
Bye.
and we'll see you next Monday.
Wow.
Maybe.
All right,
Milton.
maybe. All right. Oh well, it is coming up on a holiday week, so maybe not. Okay.
I've
So you've
eaten-
had bugs before,
Yep. And I've
intentionally?
also had snails, which are not really bugs, but
Mhm.
I've eaten a lot of
Snails are good.
snails.
Snails are
Yep.
good. I like snail.
That's
Escargot.
one of the reasons you want to have lettuce in your garden, so you can feed the snails to get them cleaned out when you want to make escargot out of them. But I've eaten June bug larvae, those grubs that live in the yard. I
Yep.
cook them up like shrimp.
I let my
Okay.
chickens eat them. Thank you very much.
There
I've
you
had
go.
grubs. I've had grasshoppers. What else? Silkworm larvae.
Huh.
Silkworm larvae. I was working over in South Korea,
Oh,
and I had a host from work, Korean gentleman. They wanted to take me out on town, take some of us out on the town, and we were in Jeonju, South Korea, way down on the southern coast, and or just before the southern coast. Anyways, they have a castle there called the Jeonju Castle, and it's a pretty historic thing for them. Well, right outside the castle doors or gates, there were some vendors out there, and I saw this one vendor, and he had this wok, and he was stirring up what looked like peanuts. And I walked over there to see what he was cooking, and when I got up there, I'm like, "Those are the funniest looking peanuts I've ever seen." And I asked my host, I said, "What are those?" And he said, "They're silkworm larvae." And I said, "The larvae from silkworm?" He says, "Yeah. They have so many silkworms over there because they spin a lot of silk, and they don't waste anything. Koreans do not waste a thing." And so we go through the castle and everything. Well, so the host, he takes us to an eel restaurant, and because Jeonju is known as it's kind of like they're the eel capital of Korea. Anyhow, so we go to this eel restaurant, and by the way, barbecued and grilled eel is fantastic. It was great. But what do they bring out for an appetizer? Silkworm larvae. And I knew when I saw them the first time at the castle, I said, at some point in my trip here, I'm going to end up eating one of these. And sure enough, and I don't know if my host just went ahead and ordered them or if they always bring them out. I don't know, but they brought some out, and there was 3 of us Americans there, and they're all looking at me. And sure, I'll try one. I'll try anything once. And so I popped one in. I didn't make any expressions. I didn't say anything. One of the other guys, he tried one. Third guy, he wouldn't even eat the eel. He wasn't eating nothing. He ordered a Coke, and that's all he was going to have. He wasn't going to have no Korean food. So my host, after I chewed it up and swallowed it, my host asked me, he says, well, what do you think? And I says, you can have the rest of them. Thank you very much. They were not good at all.
Don't the Koreans like to eat dogs?
That's not quite as common as it's made out to be, but yes, they will eat dogs. So will the Vietnamese. So yeah, they do. Now, to the best of my knowledge, I never had any dog. But you don't always know what you're getting either.
Retired Rick is talking about eating night crawlers, and I will say that my daughter went to this camp for the school. It was a school field trip. Went to some camp where they talk about nature and do these activities and stuff. And one of the things that they had to do was eat a worm. And so my daughter has had a worm. So I've never had one myself, but I remember reading a book in elementary school back in the early 80s. And it was about how, I think it was called How to Eat Fried Worms. And it was a story about these children that, they had to dress it up in ketchup and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess it's pretty harmless. Oh, look at the kitty. Let's hide the comment and get a close up of the kitty. Milton, the vicious kitty. There he is. Oh, look at that. He likes that. He likes that lovin's. What a good kitty.
Hard to believe that he was a wildcat 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you said he scratched you up, right?
Oh, he tore up my leg. He bit into an extension cord.
And then your leg?
Yep. I think when
wow.
he must have got shocked, and then he went crazy.
Oh, wow.
It's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. It's like the Incredible Hulk. Get hit by the radiation and then turn into a monster.
If you guys raise pigs or chickens, let them get sun and eat bugs. Yipper.
I do. In fact, we summertime, springtime, that's one of our favorite things is catch grasshoppers and feed it to our chickens. We love watching them chase them.
I always had a roach farm for my ducks.
Very good. All right. Well, it's 11. I think I'm ready to sign off.
Same.
So I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody. If you guys want to hang out and keep talking after we shut the live off for the after party, that's fine. And but anyway, all of you who have joined us on screen throughout the course of the last 3 hours, and those of you who have joined us in the chat, really appreciate you being here. It means a lot to us. We had a good conversation as always, and I certainly look forward to seeing all of you back next Monday, the 22nd. So if you have the time, I know it's a busy week for most people getting ready for their festivities, but I'll be here. I plan on hosting a live next Monday. We'll talk about probably how to survive the holidays and some, on a carnivore diet. We might revisit that topic again. Maybe not, because I feel like we just had that a couple weeks ago. So we'll see. Between now and then, feel free to stop over on carnivoretalk.com and join us in the forums over there. And that's it. We love you all, everybody. Again, thanks again, and have a good night.
Thanks,
Good night,
Bob.
y'all.
Right.